Chapter 1472. Ronghang and the other two used all their strength and even tore the minor transference talisman. In the blink of an eye, they entered the void and fled thousands of miles away. Even a golden core perfected being wouldn't be able to catch up to them at that speed. Escaped. Xiaoping scoffed coldly, but do you really think that you can escape? If it was a normal cultivator, he might not be able to catch up to them if they fled thousands of miles away. He could only watch helplessly as the other party escaped. However, he had the means to kill the 3 golden cores. Immediately, Xiaoping took out a treasured bow, the buried heaven bow. This was a treasure that he obtained from Heaven and Earth sect previously. It was a replica of the buried heaven bow. However, even if it was a replica, it contained terrifying power and was a superior grade spirit weapon. Boom. Xiaoping closed his eyes and sent out his powerful divine sense. Soundlessly, it spread out for a radius of 10,000 li. It was like a ripple, one circle after another, causing ripples to appear in the void. Immediately, he sensed the aura of Ronghang and the other two as well as the mental imprint that he left behind. With the existence of the mental imprint, the 3 of them were like light bulbs. I sensed it. This is the place. Xiaoping opened his eyes and there seemed to be a mysterious formation spinning in the depths of his pupils. His body gave off an unknown aura as he held the buried heaven bow in his hand and knocked an arrow. Supreme mystic skill, head-piercing 7 arrows technique. A heaven and earth formation was spinning in his body. It was deep and dark and resonated with the buried heaven bow. It trembled continuously and threads of curse aura spread out, seeping into the void and capturing Ronghang and the other two. Xiaoping used the head-piercing 7 arrows technique and strong power seeped out from his body. One after another, gray runes appeared, containing the aura of decay, ancientness, darkness, curse, etc. These gray runes hovered in the air before quickly condensing into 3 gray arrows. The moment the gray arrows were formed, they exploded with a terrifying sharpness. Like arrows that could kill gods, they had terrifying penetrative power, killing power, and curse power. It was as if once one was targeted, no matter which corner of the world they fled to, they wouldn't be able to escape. Shishu. In the blink of an eye, Xiaoping struck out as 3 arrows shot out. Burying the heavens skill vibrated out as an unparalleled amount of power was imbued onto the surface of the arrows. A terrifying amount of power coiled around the arrows. Instantly, the 3 arrows disappeared into the void and silently shot toward Ronghang and the other two. At this moment, Ronghang and the other two had already escaped 2,000 to 3,000 kilometers away and were hiding beside a huge mountain. They were panting heavily, their faces were pale and they were drenched in sweat. They had used up quite a bit of their magic power. In order to escape from Xiaoping's hands, not only did they use the minor transference talisman, but they also used all their strength to display their speed. They fled non-stop, hoping to return to the camp of the 3 great sects as soon as possible. We've already fled for thousands of kilometers. That aborigine shouldn't be able to catch up to us. Shut up. Don't be careless. It's not safe before we return to the camp. That's right. If that native catches up to us, we'll definitely die. Now isn't the time to talk about safety. Cultivate for a few minutes. Let's wait for our magic power to recover a bit before continuing our journey. We must not give that aboriginal the chance to catch up to us. We cannot give him any chance at all. Ronghang and the other two were discussing as they fled like stray dogs. Never in their wildest dreams would they have thought that they would have to flee like this one day. A golden core was being chased like a dog by a true Fire Realm cultivator. This was a great humiliation. Their hearts were filled with hatred. Once they returned to the camp, they would immediately inform the elders of the sect and ask them to send countless experts. They had to tear this despicable aborigine into pieces. If that aborigine still had relatives, friends, or even tribesmen, they would kill them all. The men would be slaves and the women would be prostitutes. Swoosh. Before they could vent their anger, suddenly an ear-piercing sound came from afar. A black hole appeared in the sky and in the next second, 3 gray arrows flew out. Watch out. Ronghang's senses were extremely sharp. He immediately felt that something was wrong. Lifting his head, he saw 3 arrows emitting a terrifying killing intent. He couldn't help but shout and warn his 2 companions beside him. But as soon as he said that, an arrow arrived beside him. Dong. His head was instantly pierced by the gray arrow. The terrifying Dharma treasure penetrated his organs and his head exploded like a watermelon, turning into a pile of minced meat. Ronghang would never have thought that he would be killed before he even saw the enemy. It was simply unbelievable. The other 2 golden cores had their hearts pierced by the gray arrows. The deathly stillness spread throughout their bodies, robbing and devouring all their vitality. Their eyes were wide open. Fear, shock, indignation, and many other emotions could be seen in the depths of their eyes. They didn't expect that even though they had fled for thousands of kilometers, they still couldn't escape death. With a snap, their necks tilted and they died on the spot. No matter how indignant they were, it turned into nothingness. On the other hand, Xiaoping also sensed that the spiritual imprint on Ronghang and the other two had disappeared. This meant that the three of them had lost their vitality. Even a sage couldn't save them. In other words, he had killed 3 golden cores with 3 arrows. He was unparalleled. This was the power of the head-piercing 7 arrows technique. Although it couldn't be used as a main battle technique under normal circumstances, it could easily kill an enemy at a critical moment. At this time, the other elite disciples of the Shantian sect were also killed. However, they didn't die at Xiaoping's hands. Instead, they killed each other. It was as if they were possessed by hungry ghosts. If they didn't eat a large amount of soil, they would die from being eaten by their fellow disciples. Their deaths were extremely miserable. The power of the 6 Hell Demon Tome was evident. If this divine ability was used on a habitable planet, it would probably turn the habitable planet into a living hell in an instant. Swoosh. Xiaoping's body flashed and he came to the dead Ronghang. He found the remaining 4 5-element spirit talismans. After killing 10 golden cores, he also obtained 10 golden cores, which could be refined into supreme-grade pills. Other than that, these Shantian sect disciples also left behind a large number of treasures. There were hundreds of inferior-grade spirit weapons, 10 middle-grade spirit weapons, and 1 superior-grade spirit weapon. He also obtained the pills and spirit medicine left behind by the Shantian sect disciples. He had gained a lot. The value of these treasures was immeasurable. Alright, let's begin. Chapter 1473. Boom. Xiaoping activated the star attraction technique and infused the power of the stars into the 5-element spirit talismans. Immediately, the 5 talismans quickly merged into one. The 5 elements of metal, wood, water, fire, and earth emerged, forming a 5 elements array like a 5-pointed star. It slowly rotated in midair and turned into a talisman. This is the key to controlling the 5 elements dragon demon sealing array? Xiaoping grabbed the talisman with his hand. He could feel that this talisman was the key to controlling the planet's array. His divine consciousness immediately penetrated it and refined it in an instant. Immediately, he felt his divine consciousness permeate the entire planet. This super array was under his control. He could use the power of the array at any time, anywhere, to cover every corner of the planet. He could even clearly sense the location of the spacetime door tens of thousands of miles away. With just a thought, he could activate the power of the array and mobilize the power of the 5 elements of heaven and earth. He could transform it into a dragon and destroy the camp in an instant. What is this place? Suddenly, Xiaoping sensed that there seemed to be an illusory space in the depths of the Great Matrix. There was a sealing matrix inside that was densely packed with matrix patterns. Chains of the Great Tao traversed through the void one after another. It was extremely terrifying. He instantly knew that this space must be the core of the planet. It was also the place where Gaia's consciousness was sealed. Swoosh. With a thought, Xiaoping activated the power of the array and instantly teleported himself into this illusory space. This space was a cage and there were densely packed sealing runes everywhere. Even a single rune could seal a golden core realm cultivator into a normal person, and they would not be able to use any power at all. This is Gaia? Xiaoping walked in front of the cage and blinked. He actually saw a little girl about 5 or 6 years old in a white dress sleeping soundly in the cage. Although she was just a little girl, that was only on the surface. There were countless sealing runes on her body. This could seal a mighty figure into a powerless wastrel. It was completely imaginable how much terrifying power was contained in her body for the saints to treat her so seriously. All of a sudden she sensed something. She rubbed her eyes and woke up. Then she got up, and a strand of a hogue stood up on her little head, as if she didn't know what had happened. Then she turned her head and immediately saw Xiaoping. Instantly her eyes lit up like stars. "Papa, are you here to save me?" The little loli ran all the way over and hugged Xiaoping's thigh excitedly. "Daddy?" Xiaoping was speechless. The corner of his mouth twitched. When did he become someone else's father? Furthermore, this was Gaia. She had no parents and was raised by the heavens. In primordial times she would be a chaos demon god. Who could be her father? However, he could indeed sense the kindness and yearning from the little loli. She wasn't lying. In fact, Xiaoping also felt that the bloodline in his body had an inexplicable sense of closeness to Gaia. It was as if they were relatives of the same race. The depths of his bloodline gave off wisps of mysterious and profound fluctuations. I'm not your father. You can call me brother. Xia Ping wanted to correct this form of address. Brother? What? Little Loli blinked her eyes in confusion. Xia Ping straightened his face and said, There's no why. It's just a form of address. All right, brother. You're so warm. Little Loli hugged Xia Ping's thigh and revealed a very comfortable look. She could feel the scorching pure yang aura in Xia Ping's body. It seemed that staying with Xia Ping could promote her growth and give her endless benefits. Even her soul energy was growing rapidly. Warm? Xia Ping could also sense that Gaia's aura had undergone a completely different change from before. It was constantly improving. He remembered the relationship between the sun and an ordinary life planet. The two complemented each other. It was precisely because the sun provided infinite heat and endless vitality that the planet was full of vitality and countless lives on the planet could reproduce. Therefore, Gaia's closeness to him could be imagined. In essence, Xia Ping was a peerless treasure to Gaia. Just by being by his side, Gaia could obtain endless benefits. Originally, he wanted to use the soul seal to control Gaia. However, now that he thought about it, there was no need for that. Warm? All right, what's your name? Xia Ping asked. Little Loli tilted her head, her eyes filled with question marks. Name. I don't have a name, but there was a bad guy who sealed me and seemed to call me Gaia. That's right, it was that bad guy who sealed me and made me stay in this cage. I can't go out or go out. Brother, when you see that bad guy in the future, you must teach him a lesson. She clenched her small fists, thinking of what happened before, and was very angry. Since you don't have a name, then I'll give you one. Seeing that you're so dumb, I'll call you Dumbo from now on. Xia Ping gave Gaia a name. Dumbo? When Green Ox and Corinne heard this name, the corners of their mouths twitched. This was the famous Gaia, yet he was given such a name. If some of the Gaia saints knew about this, they would probably cross regions to kill him. Oh, then I'll be called Dumbo from now on. Little Loli nodded vigorously, seemingly very excited that she had a name. Boom. Suddenly, starlight gushed out of her body like the stars in the sky, illuminating the space. Each starlight seemed to be a mysterious ancient rune, containing mysterious power. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Immediately, these starlights entered Xia Ping's body at lightning speed. What's this? Xia Ping's body trembled. He felt these starlights instantly fuse into his soul. Immediately, his soul formed an inexplicable connection with Dumbo. A connection was formed between souls. Oh my god, Gaia contract, it's actually Gaia contract. How did it sign so quickly? Corinne couldn't help but cry out. The so-called Gaia contract was a contract unique to the Gaia race. It could be signed with others, sharing life and death, and it could bring endless benefits to the contracted person. Back then, Myriad Star Sect Master wanted to sign a contract with Gaia, so he sealed it, hoping to use time to temper it and make Gaia submit. But back then, his old master used various means and sealed Gaia for tens of thousands of years, but still failed to make Gaia submit. How could he have imagined that Xia Ping, who had just arrived in this space, would make Gaia so intimate, even taking the initiative to use the Gaia contract? How could there be such a big difference between people? Chapter 1474. This? Xia Ping's eyes lit up. The moment the contract was formed, he felt as if he had become the master of this world, or even the supreme heavenly Tao. He was omnipotent. His soul had even merged with this planet. He could sense every tree, every stone, and even every speck of dust on this planet. These things were under his control as if they were his own body. Within the range of this planet, he could use all the power within the planet at any time. Even a Thunder Retribution Realm cultivator could be easily pinched to death. Is this the so-called omniscience and omnipotence? Xia Ping felt as if his soul had transformed into a brain. He did not know how many billions of calculations were carried out in a second. His thinking ability was as fast as lightning. In this state, his reasoning ability and logic ability had been greatly improved. All the things that he had been puzzled about in the past seemed to have been cleared up at this moment. He knew that this was not a qualitative improvement of his soul. It was only because his soul had merged with Gaia's body and he had experienced a part of Gaia's authority. How powerful! Xia Ping exclaimed. He finally understood why the sage wanted to capture Gaia. Gaia's potential was too strong. She was born to be a godlike existence. As long as they were given enough time, they could grow into invincible existences. Moreover, signing a contract with Gaia would allow one to obtain a part of Gaia's power. Even the sage would covet it. Dong. Thinking of this, Xiaoping stretched out his hand and gently tapped on little Loli's body. Immediately, the seal on her body shattered like glass. Controlling the 5-element Sky Dragon Demon Sealing formation, he could undo the seal on little Dumbo at any time. The seal has been undone. Little Dumbo was very excited. She found that the power of the formation that bound her body had disappeared. A familiar power surged into her body. She had regained her freedom. As long as she was willing, she could use the powerful power in her body at any time. Brother, hug me. Little Dumbo wants to sleep. Little Loli yawned and hugged Xiaoping's thigh. She seemed to want to sleep again. Although Gaia had been sealed for tens of thousands of years, this amount of time was nothing to Gaia. A normal nap could take thousands of years. Could be said that Gaia was sleeping most of the time. In fact, sleeping was also a manifestation of Gaia's constant evolution. Don't worry. Let's get rid of the enemies on this planet first. We can't let them stay here any longer. A cold light flashed in Xiaoping's eyes. It was time to drive away the people from Minuet Court, Juntian Church and Shantian School. Although he had killed most of the Shantian sect's elites and perfected golden cores, there were still some Shantian sect disciples who stayed behind to participate in the construction of the Gate of Time and Space, so not all of them died. Enemy? Is he a bad guy? Dumbo blinked its eyes. Yes, they are bad guys. But you don't have to worry about them. Just sleep well. Big Brother will help you take care of them. Xiaoping reached out and patted little Dumbo's little head. He could sense that Dumbo was indeed a child. Although it had been born for hundreds of millions of years according to the lifespan of the Gaia race, it was only a child of a few years old. Furthermore, she had spent most of her time in a deep slumber in the dense fog star domain. There were no living beings there, and she hadn't come into contact with anything too complicated. Dumbo nodded and actually fell asleep in an instant, with a carefree look on his face. At this moment, at the location of the time-space gate, a small number of disciples from Minuet Court, Great Sky Denomination, and Shantian sect gathered together. Their faces were extremely solemn. This was because they already knew that something had happened to the elite disciples of Shantian sect. They knew that all the perfected golden cores of Shantian sect had been killed, and none of them could escape. I believe everyone knows that something has happened to Shantian sect. In the process of obtaining the wood spirit talisman, they were suddenly attacked by a native. He even killed all the perfected golden cores of Shantian sect. None of them could escape. A perfected golden core of Minuet Court said in a low voice. His voice was trembling because this matter was too terrifying. There were 10 perfected golden cores and thousands of sect elites. Even thousands of pigs would not be able to kill all of them in such a short time. Now that they were all dead and even the perfected golden cores could not escape, one could imagine the danger involved. In the distance, Qiushue and Su Mei were also in the crowd. When they heard about this matter, of course they knew who did it. However, they did not expect Xiaoping to really do it and kill all the perfected golden cores of Shantian sect. He was so tyrannical. Right now, Xiaoping was only a true fire realm cultivator and was alone. It was hard for them to understand how he did it. However, this way they knew that Xiaoping was safe and unharmed by Shantian sect. Furthermore, it was not their turn to speak in such a situation. All they had to do was to stand at the side and watch. How is that possible? Are those people from Shantian sect idiots? How could they be ambushed and killed by a native? A perfected golden core of Great Sky sect was puzzled. When the remaining Shantian sect disciples heard those words, their expressions turned ugly. However, they could not refute it. In reality, they did not know how their senior brothers and sisters died. I don't know if they're idiots or not. I only know that no matter how stupid those perfected golden cores are, they would at least know how to escape. I can only say that this planet is filled with unpredictable dangers and we need to be vigilant. Another perfected golden core of Minuet Court said. What's there to be vigilant about? Hurry up and run. 10 golden cores. Including the 3 that died earlier, there's a total of 13 dead. Isn't such a death toll enough to make you guys retreat? Some of them wanted to escape as they felt that this place was too dangerous. What are you running for? We're here to build a stable spatial gate. If we run now, wouldn't we fail the mission? Can you bear the punishment of the sect's elder? Don't say such nonsense. They're already dead. Why are we afraid of punishment? This planet is too dangerous. It's not a place for juniors like us to come to. Didn't the elders say that the strongest person on this planet is only a perfected golden core? Why did such an accident happen? There's a limit to one's strength. No matter how powerful the elders are, they can't possibly know everything. Moreover, Don't forget that this is the Fog Star Field. It's a universe mystic realm that even sages can't enter. Who knows what will happen? That's right. If we underestimate this place, we'll all die. Let's run. Go back now. We can't go back. The spatial gate is about to be completed. If we go back now, all our previous efforts will be wasted. I can't accept that. Chapter 1475. Since you don't want to leave, then all of you can stay here. Suddenly, a loud voice appeared above the time and space gate. It buzzed and reached everyone's ears, exuding an ancient, noble, and grand aura. Who is it? The disciples of the three sects who were arguing were shocked. They looked up immediately and saw an illusory projection appear in the air. It was like a god looking down on all living beings. It was Xiaoping. Qiushue and Su Mei immediately recognized that it was Xiaoping's voice and the aura he exuded. Sure enough, this guy was not dead and was unharmed. They also looked up. Who are you? A perfected cultivator of the Golden Core realm from the Great Sky sect shouted angrily, "Don't you know that we are disciples of the three saint-level sects and have the support of the sages? If you dare to attack us, you will be the enemy of the Great Sky sect, the Mingyue Pavilion, and the Shentian sect. Don't seek your own death, understand?" He was threatening this mysterious figure, pointing out his background and identity. With the support of the sages, he was not a nobody. Once he killed them, it would be like poking a hornet's nest, and endless revenge would come. Who am I? You can call me Wu Wudi. Xiaoping's voice came out and revealed his identity. I can give you 3 breaths to escape. If you don't escape by then all of you will die here. His voice was cold and ruthless. Wu Wudi? What an arrogant name. In front of the sages, who dares to call himself Wu Wudi? Don't you know that this is a taboo? If you dare to appear on the street in our star area and live for 3 seconds, I will change my surname to yours. A perfected cultivator of the Golden Core realm from the Great Sky sect sneered. He felt that this native was very arrogant and a bit like a frog at the bottom of a well. After staying in the Fog Star area for so long, he did not know how weak he was. Qiushue and Su Mei's mouths twitched. They knew that this guy liked to make up names. Even if he wanted to hide his identity, he did not forget to provoke others. Brother Wu, this is the Fog Star area, a place where even birds don't shit. Do you want to stay here for the rest of your life? If you're willing to cooperate with us and let us build a space-time gate here, you'll be the hero of our 3 great sections. At that time, you'll be able to do whatever you want in the universe. There are many benefits to cooperating with us. Why don't you consider it? A master in the Gold Core realm of the Juntian sect tried to cooperate with Xiaoping and offered him generous conditions. As long as you are willing, I don't care what you want, even if it is a peerless magic treasure, a 10,000-year-old elixir, or a supreme script, or even if you want to rule a star region. However, the Golden Cores discussed secretly and communicated with their spirit consciousnesses. Senior brother, isn't it a little too much to give so many conditions? Even we perfected Golden Cores don't have such a good thing. How can this native be worthy? How stupid. Can't you just write empty promises? This native didn't know much and was extremely greedy. Just a few words were enough to swindle him and break his willpower. When the spacetime gate is built successfully, he'll be a pile of shit that can be trampled to death at any time. Indeed, it's not suitable to have a conflict with this native now. Although I don't know how Ronghang and the others died, there's no doubt that this native probably has a trump card that can easily kill a master in the Gold Core realm. Now we're no match for this native, but when the elders come, it'll be different. They can suppress this native in an instant. That's right. Let this native run wild now. When the spacetime gate is built successfully, he'll know the dignity of a saint-level sect. A small native wants to negotiate with us? He really doesn't know what's going on. Even if we play him to death, he probably won't know what's going on. This time we'll let him gain some knowledge. The Golden Core realm of the Juntian sect sneered. In an instant they had completed their thoughts. They wanted to temporarily swindle this native and delay him until the spacetime gate was built successfully. Xiaoping looked down calmly. Naturally, he sensed that there were waves of spirit consciousnesses communicating in the void. He guessed that they were conspiring with each other. Perhaps there was some conspiracy. However, he didn't want to pay attention to it. Moreover, it was really underestimating him if they wanted to sway his will with such a small benefit. He said directly, 3 breaths are up. If you don't leave, then die. Wait. The Golden Core realm of the Juntian sect still wanted to say something. Boom. In an instant, in the depths of the void, a big hand crushed down. Countless runes gathered together like a millstone of heaven and earth, emitting chaotic aura and destroying time and space. This was a blow that gathered the power of the planet. With the help of the power of heaven and earth, it surpassed the Golden Core realm and even surpassed Xia Ping's current cultivation of True Fire realm. It had reached an incredible level. The Golden Core realm of the Juntian sect had goosebumps. Feeling a fatal crisis, they wanted to escape. However, it was too late. This palm sealed the sky and locked the earth, locking their chi activity. Moreover, it was extremely fast. When they discovered this palm, it had already crushed down. Dong. Before 5 or 6 Golden Core realm of the Juntian sect knew what was going on, they were hit by this palm. Their whole bodies were shaken into a ball of powder, leaving only 5 or 6 golden cores on the ground. The rest of the disciples of the Juntian sect were also killed by the aftermath. As for the disciples of the Mingyue court, because they stood a little further away and were close to the space-time gate, they didn't suffer too much damage. However, they were also scared out of their wits by the power of this palm. Their faces turned pale. Damn aborigines. The rest of the disciples of the Juntian sect were extremely angry. Before their plot started, it was destroyed by Xia Ping with a slap. Previously, they wanted to use all kinds of tricks to fool him. However, they didn't expect that Xia Ping did not talk nonsense with them at all. He directly attacked and killed 5 or 6 Golden Core Realm Immortals with one palm. Now, they also knew why all the Golden Core Realm Immortals of the Shantian sect were killed. With such powerful strength, it was a piece of cake for him to kill so many Golden Core Realm Immortals. Die all of you. Xia Ping was cold and ruthless. Another palm came from the void, and the momentum was countless times more terrifying than before. Oh no. Run quickly. Hurry up, run back to the space-time gate immediately and return to the sect. The disciples of the 3 sects were so scared that they wet their pants. They no longer divided into 2 groups. All of them wished that their parents could give them more legs, hoping to run back to the sect as soon as possible. If they continued to stay here, they would only have a dead end. Qiushue and Su Mei had already received Xia Ping's voice transmission. They were one step ahead of time at the space-time gate. When Xia Ping made his move, they immediately jumped into the space-time gate and quickly teleported back. Chapter 1476. Dong. The palm came crashing down, covering thousands of miles, instantly shattering the temporary space-time gate into pieces. The formation base was broken, and the disciples of the 3 major sects who hadn't escaped were in despair. However, the despair only lasted for a moment because the huge palm came crashing down, and they were instantly turned into powder. In an instant, all the buildings in the station were shaken into nothingness, turning into a huge, palm-sized pit. Apart from those who had escaped first, all the disciples of the 3 major sects died in this place. Have they gone back? Xia Ping sensed that Qiushu and Su Mei's auras had disappeared from this planet, so he knew that they had safely left the dense fog starfield. In order to avoid suspicion, he pretended not to know them and treated them equally. However, he still waited for them to completely enter the space-time gate before he made his move. The result was very smooth. Not only did he drive all the disciples of the 3 major sects away, but he also sent the 2 back to Mingyue Court. At this moment, in the headquarters of the Black Heaven sect, in another area of the space-time gate, countless elders of the Black Heaven sect were guarding this place. The security was tight and there were powerful restrictions everywhere. Of course, apart from the elders of the Black Heaven sect, some elders of the Mingyue Court and the Great Sky sect were also present. After all, they were all partners, so they were naturally very concerned about the dense fog starfield. I wonder what the situation is like in the dense fog starfield. I heard some bad news. A native is stirring up trouble. If it's just a native, that's nothing. How can he be compared to us, the disciples of the Black Heaven sect? Sooner or later we'll kill that native and wipe out that native tribe. You're right. It's only natural that there will be trouble. After all, that place is the dense fog starfield. It's not surprising that there will be problems. As long as the eternal spacetime gate is successfully built, we can continuously send troops into the dense fog starfield. Soon. In another 10 days, the spacetime gate will be completed, and a stable spatial passage that can accommodate Thunder Retribution Realm powerhouses will be built. Then we can enter and leave the dense fog starfield at will. I hope there will be no accidents. Don't worry, there definitely won't be. This time, we've sent 3,000 elite disciples and more than 30 golden cores from the 3 major sections. No matter how powerful those natives are, they can't turn the situation around. That is indeed the case. It seems like I was worrying too much. Many of the elders' eyes were burning with passion. The dense fog star field was a universe-secret realm, a forbidden land for humans. Since ancient times, not many people knew what was in the dense fog star field. Although the unknown was scary at times, it was also fascinating at times. This was like an undeveloped land that contained endless vitality and treasures. There might be opportunities that could help them become saints. Before these elders could finish speaking, the temporary spatial gate suddenly trembled and released a dazzling light. A spacetime tunnel connected to the distance. What happened? Many of the elders were shocked and immediately looked at the time gate. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. In the next second, a large number of people fled out of the spatial gate and fell to the ground one by one. Everyone had a look of fear and panic as though they had just survived a disaster. Why did you come back from the dense fog star region? What exactly happened? Many of the elders immediately sensed that something was wrong, as if something big had happened. Space-time gate. This is bad. The space-time gate is broken. Everyone get out of the way. One of the elders shouted and immediately used a spell. An energy shield instantly enveloped everyone. Boom. The space-time gate immediately exploded into pieces, creating a terrifying explosion. In an instant, a huge crater with a diameter of more than 10 kilometers appeared on the ground. Seeing this, many of the elders' expressions darkened. They knew that they were in big trouble. The destruction of the space-time gate meant that the tunnel into the dense fog star field had disappeared. This was a huge loss, and it meant that they could no longer safely enter the dense fog star field. All their previous thoughts turned to nothing like the moon in the water. This was an unbearable weight. Speak, what happened? Why did you run back in such a hurry? Many of the elders stared at the disciples who had escaped. Elders, something big happened. A terrifyingly strong native suddenly appeared and slaughtered all of us. Even the space-time gate was destroyed. Luckily we ran back in time. Otherwise we would have died there, a golden core perfected master from Mingyue Pavilion said in relief. Luckily they had run away quickly. Otherwise, they would have followed in the footsteps of the golden core perfected masters of Shantian sect and died in that godforsaken place. Wait, where are the disciples of Shantian sect? Why did only a few of them return? Where are the golden cores? Why didn't any of them return? One of the Shantian sect elders shouted with a dark expression. Many of the elders' hearts sank as well. They felt that things were getting worse. Elder, they're all dead. The 12 golden core Taoists all died in the hands of that terrifying native. Even the elites of over 1,000 sects were completely wiped out by him. Not a single one of them managed to escape. One of the Shantian sect's elite disciples said with a trembling voice. Impossible. The Shantian sect elder screamed. The saint had investigated before. The strongest living being on that planet was only a golden core perfected master. There's no living being stronger than a golden core perfected master. Even if the natives of that planet were very strong and they weren't their match in a one-on-one fight, all 12 golden cores would turn any perfected master into dust. Who could kill them? He was in disbelief. That native is simply a monster. His martial arts realm seems to be true fire realm, but killing golden cores was as easy as chopping vegetables. We can't match him. Many of the Shantian sect's disciples said in horror. Trash. The elder cursed. A puny native at true fire realm could kill them like dogs. They've wasted their cultivation. What a disgrace to the Shantian sect. He was simply unable to contain his anger. It's not just us. The Great Sky sect also suffered heavy losses. 6 to 7 golden cores died in a single exchange and hundreds of elite disciples were killed. Some of the Shantian sect's disciples complained. It wasn't because they were incompetent but because the enemy was too strong. Many of the Great Sky sect's disciples' faces were as black as charcoal. They had only been in contact with that terrifying native for a short period of time, but it had caused terrifying losses to the Great Sky sect. In fact, if they hadn't been so talkative, there wouldn't have been so many deaths. However, they angered the native. As a result, the golden cores of the Great Sky sect who had been clamoring earlier were taken care of and killed with a single slap. They couldn't even escape. What about Mingyue Court? Why can Mingyue Court still maintain so many elites? Chapter 1477. Old man, what do you mean by that? Are you suspecting something? An elder from Mingyue Court clearly sensed the hidden meaning in the Black Heaven sect elder's words and was immediately very displeased. Humph, it's not that I want to suspect anything, but both Black Heaven sect and Great Sky sect have suffered heavy losses. Only Mingyue Court is unscathed. The elder from the Black Heaven sect sneered. I can't help but suspect that your Minuet court has reached some sort of agreement with that native, and you're secretly trying to kill the elite disciples of our two sections. He voiced his doubts about Minuet court, thinking that there might be a mole in Minuet court that caused such losses. Shut up. The Minuet court elder glared at him. Do you have proof? Don't spout nonsense if you don't. You're insulting the reputation that Minuet court has built up over countless years. Do you want to start a war with Minuet court? She clenched her fists, her body surging with a violent aura and murderous intent. The reputation of a sect was not to be taken lightly. No one could blaspheme it. The Black Heaven sect elder snorted but didn't say anything else. He really didn't have any proof. He was just saying this out of anger to express his dissatisfaction. After all, Black Heaven sect had suffered heavy losses this time. 12 golden core perfected masters and thousands of elite disciples. Black Heaven sect hadn't suffered such a huge loss for many years. More importantly, even the gate of time and space had shattered and the spatial coordinates to the Fog Galaxy had disappeared. This meant that they could no longer go to the Fog Galaxy. This was the biggest blow to Black Heaven sect. Elder, you must avenge us brothers. Senior brother Ronghang, senior brother Fong and the others died so tragically. Their bodies were shattered and even their golden cores were taken. That native is a beast. He's inhumane and arrogant. He doesn't respect Black Heaven sect at all. That bastard called himself Wu Wudi and publicly insulted Black Heaven sect's saint. He said that he would kill the saint if he had the chance. If we don't kill him, Black Heaven sect will lose face. Charge into the Fog Galaxy, kill that native and tear him to pieces. Many disciples of the Shantian sect roared in anger. So many brothers had died, including their friends and family. They had a blood feud with Wu Wudi that was absolutely irreconcilable. Damn it. Many of the Mystic Heaven sect's elders gritted their teeth, wanting nothing more than to capture that native Wu Wudi. The problem was that he was in the dense Fog Galaxy, where even sages could not enter. No matter how much hatred they felt, there was nothing they could do. When they thought of this, they felt even more sullen. That native probably thought of this, which was why he was so fearless and unbridled. Many disciples and elders of the Great Sky sect also hated Wu Wudi to death. Although their losses were not as heavy as those of the Shantian sect, they still lost half of their golden core perfected masters and hundreds of elite disciples. Minuet court was the only party that had suffered relatively little damage. They did not hold much hatred for Minuet court. After all, death was a common occurrence in the universe. Furthermore, they were invaders who had come into someone else's territory to flaunt their strength and steal their treasures. That native was only fighting back against the invaders. It was hard to say who was right and who was wrong. If that native didn't have the strength, he would have been killed by the three sects long ago. He might even have been captured alive and kept as a slave, living a life worse than death. No matter what, Minuet court, the Great Sky sect, and the Shantian sect had completely remembered this aboriginal Wu Wudi. If they had the chance, they would definitely kill this aboriginal to vent their anger. On the other hand, Planet of Five Elements. Xia Ping smashed the spacetime gate with one palm, completely cutting off the other party's space passage into the dense fog star field. He immediately felt relieved. It was impossible for them to step into the dense fog star field in a short time. Even if they had a way to step into the dense fog star field, he would have already left with Dumbo Gaia. There was no need to worry. Instead, he was looking forward to them entering the dense fog star field again. If that group of people accidentally encountered the space beasts that lived in the dense fog star field, there would be a good show to watch. They left a lot of good things behind. Xia Ping touched his chin. He found that after the people of the three sects left, there were many materials left behind. Each of these materials was extremely precious. 5 elements: gold, silver, copper, luohan, steel, frost iron, and so on. They were all materials used to build the spacetime gate. They had escaped too quickly and had no time to take them away. Each of these materials was worth a lot of money. What excited Xia Ping the most was that there was a large number of space stones. The so-called space stones were strange ores born from the cracks in the universe. They contained rich space energy. Some space stones could even form their own space. They were extremely precious. The raw materials of those space rings and other storage magic tools were space stones. Even the materials for the transmission array and the spacetime gate required a large number of space stones. Now, the ground was piled up with densely packed space stones, just like a small hill. The surroundings were filled with rich space energy. This was an extremely astonishing wealth. Moreover, even if he did not sell these space stones, Xia Ping needed a large number of space stones for his cultivation. His star-guiding art also needed to swallow a large amount of space energy in order to promote to a higher realm. It could be said that space stones were an indispensable cultivation resource. He did not expect that the three sects would leave such a big gift for him. Oh, that's right, Corinne. Xia Ping turned around and asked Corinne next to him, "Isn't this place the Myriad Stars sect's treasure trove? Where is the treasure trove?" He looked around but could not find even a trace of the Myriad Stars sect's treasure trove. It's gone, it's all gone. Those spirit stones, spirit herbs, and all kinds of rare materials are in the headquarters. They have been plundered clean, not a single drop is left. Corinne shook his head, indicating that there were no resources here, but if it's resources, there is nothing that can compare to Gaia. Xia Ping also admitted that no matter how many treasures there were, it would be very difficult to compare to Gaia. Obtaining Gaia was simply equivalent to obtaining the help of a future sage. If a sage-level sect was established, then it would be a mountain guardian beast that no one would dare to provoke. This was the true heritage of a sect. But even so, there is actually a treasure hidden in this place. In fact, it is also the most important treasure on Old Master's body. The reason why he was able to become a sage was all because of that treasure. Corinne sighed with emotion. What? Is there such a thing? Xia Ping was very curious. To be able to make a person become a sage, what kind of powerful treasure was that? His curiosity had reached the peak. In fact, it is in a sealed space on this planet. As long as Master carefully searches for it with divine sense and operates the star-guiding art, you can sense its existence. Corinne said. What kind of magic tool is it? Xia Ping asked. Chapter 1478. Half an hour later. This is the wish compass? Xia Ping searched carefully and sure enough he found a magical item deep within the sealed space. It was an ancient feng shui compass about the size of a palm. It looked very plain but it was covered with dense, special patterns and a black and white pointer. If not for Corinne's solemn vow, he would have thought that it was some eliminated trash. However, when his divine sense penetrated into this magic weapon, he could sense that it was indeed very extraordinary. The depths of it contained an unfathomable aura, which couldn't be speculated. Corinne, what is the use of this magic weapon? Its name is Wish Compass. Is it a magic weapon that can fulfill any wish? Xia Ping asked curiously. If it was true, then this magic weapon was a bit frightening. Of course not, but it's not far from it. Corinne said, although it can't instantly fulfill any wish, as long as you want to fulfill any wish in your heart, wherever you want to go, this wish compass can guide you. For example, if you want to find someone, get a treasure, or enter a dangerous place but can't come out, you can easily rely on the wish compass. In those days, the old master relied on this magic weapon to obtain countless treasures and entered many secret realms of the universe, thus cultivating to the sage realm. It stroked its gray beard. Really amazing. The green ox was also amazed. It certainly knew how magical this magic weapon was, which was even more powerful than a sacred tool. In the world, there were many rare elixirs, precious magic weapons, and rare secret books that couldn't be found. These things had long been submerged in the dust of history and no one could find them. But with the wish compass it was different. One could find these treasures and become rich overnight. In this way, how could one still worry about not having enough resources for cultivation? Even when encountering a bottleneck, one could rely on the wish compass to find elixirs that could assist one in breaking through, so that one could cultivate with irresistible force. This magic weapon is so powerful, isn't it a sacred tool? Xia Ping asked. No, it's not a sacred tool, but it's more powerful and precious than a sacred tool. Corinne said, I believe you also know the grades of magic weapons, treasure tools, spirit tools, and sacred tools. But in fact, in ancient times, there was a simpler grading, that is, Xiantian magic weapon and Hotian magic weapon. The so-called acquired magic treasures were magic treasures forged by the living beings of the universe using all kinds of rare materials. From treasures to sacred artifacts, they all belong to the category of acquired magic treasures. But Khanate treasures are different. They have existed since the birth of the universe, and they are treasures that the universe itself nurtured. They are unfathomable, and every single one of them contains unimaginable power. They have the characteristic of being indestructible since birth. Indestructible? Xia Ping blinked his eyes. Indestructible is just a concept. In fact, they can still be destroyed as long as the power is strong enough. Immortal Cat said, but after being destroyed after hundreds of millions of years, they will be reborn in another place in the universe, repeating the cycle as if they are an immortal existence. What a treasure. Xiaoping's eyes lit up. He finally understood why this was the final secret treasure of the Stars sect. With this Khanate artifact, wouldn't it be easy to find other treasures? A few days later, Xiaoping came out of seclusion. He had obtained a large number of elixirs from the disciples of Shintian sect, Mingyue Pavilion and Great Sky sect, and then he swallowed them all and transformed them into spiritual power. Therefore, in the past few days he had been constantly improving his cultivation, and his spiritual power was also a lot stronger, almost reaching the peak of the middle stage of True Fire Realm, vaguely touching the bottleneck. If these elixirs were obtained by other cultivators, they would have been promoted to the peak of the late stage of True Fire Realm. But for Xiaoping, it was just a drop in the bucket because his savings were too deep and these elixirs were nothing at all. But this time he got 20 golden elixirs, and now the Green Bull was refining these golden elixirs into elixirs. Once successful, he could quickly promote to the late stage of True Fire Realm, or even the peak of True Fire Realm. In this way he was not far from the Golden Core Realm. Didi, at this moment the system's voice was heard. Congratulations to the host for angering a large number of elders of Shintian sect, Great Sky sect and Mingyue Pavilion, gaining 1.5 billion hatred points. Now the host has a total of 2 billion hatred points. I hope the host will continue to work hard. Xiaoping was overjoyed. With 2 billion hatred points he could buy a lot of good things, but he still needed to think carefully about what to buy. Master. At this moment the Green Bull's voice was heard. There's a problem with refining the golden elixirs. What problem? Xiaoping asked. He now needed the golden elixirs to improve his cultivation, and he was very concerned about this. If you want to refine the golden elixirs, you must clear the spiritual will inside the golden elixirs. Only after clearing it, the golden elixirs will become pure energy, and this requires a kind of elixir, soul cleansing grass. The Green Bull said, soul cleansing grass is a spiritual medicine of heaven and earth, extremely precious. Once taken, it has the effect of washing away the impurities of the soul. If taken too much, even the memory of the soul will be washed away. So if you can get the soul cleansing grass, you can clear the spiritual will inside the golden elixirs. The problem is that this kind of elixir is very precious, and I don't have it with me for the time being. Then do you know where to find the soul cleansing grass? Xiaoping asked. The Green Bull said, Master, the place where the soul cleansing grass grows is very unique, and it's very difficult to find it. I don't know where exactly, but I know that there might be a planet where the soul cleansing grass grows in the southern universe. The southern universe. Xiaoping's eyes lit up. After being in the universe for a long time, he knew that although the universe was endless and vast, it was divided into 5 major regions. The first was the place where the Heaven and Earth sect, the Lingyun sect and the 5 Elements sect were located. This place was called the Eastern Universe. This region was the most peaceful place in the universe, but there were relatively few opportunities. The Great Sky sect, the Shintian sect, and the Mingyue Pavilion were located in the Northern Universe. It was said that there were fewer planets with life in this universe, and many of them had very harsh environments. However, there were many secret realms in the universe, which also made the creatures in the Northern Universe very fierce. In addition, there was also the Southern Universe. There were many barbarians and beasts living in this universe. There were a large number of wild planets which could be called a paradise for monsters. Therefore, some people called this place the Southern Barbarians. On the other hand, the Western Universe was a world of religion. It was said that there was Buddhism in that universe and there were races like the Luohan, the Vajra and other races living there. There were also the Angel Clan, the Demon Clan and other tyrannical races. Everyone in that place had their own beliefs. Therefore, the Western Universe was extremely xenophobic and mysterious. Moreover, there were endless conflicts between them and wars often broke out. Of course, these 4 major regions were nothing. The strongest was the Central Universe. This was the center of the universe and it had the most opportunities. It was the place where the saints lived and it was the holy land of all races. Chapter 1479. But even if we go to the Southern Universe, we may not be able to find the soul cleansing grass. After all, the Southern Universe is vast and boundless, and it is not so easy to find it, Xiaoping said in a deep voice. There were hundreds of millions of planets near the Cloud Realm alone, and this was only a small area. If it was the entire Southern Universe, the area would be even more unimaginable. What was the difference between finding a place where the soul cleansing grass grew on so many planets and finding a needle in a haystack? Master, don't you have the wish compass? Maybe we can use this treasure to find the soul cleansing grass. Green Ox had already thought of a way to use the wish compass. What you said makes sense. Maybe we can try using this treasure. It seems that it is time to leave the fog star field. Xiaoping nodded. He really wanted to take the opportunity to use this treasure to see if it was as powerful as the rumors said. He came to the fog star field to obtain the treasure of the stars sect. Now that he had obtained it, there was no need to stay in this place. He wanted to leave. Moreover, the fog star field was an extremely dangerous place. Although he had a way to get rid of the influence of the fog, he still felt that this place was not a place for ordinary people. If he was unlucky and encountered a universe overlord level beast, he would be dead. Brother, do you want to leave here? Do you want to abandon little Dumbo? Next to him, little Dumbo seemed to have sensed Xiaoping's thoughts. He pulled the corner of Xiaoping's clothes with his small hand and blinked his big eyes. No, but you're so big that you can't move. Just stay here for now. I'll come back in the future. Xiaoping said. After all, Gaia was too big. It was a star and it would be too high profile to bring a star with him. Even the sages would look at it. It doesn't matter. Little Dumbo can become smaller. As soon as he said that, the entire 5 elements planet trembled and underwent earth-shattering changes. Xiaoping was also expelled from this planet by a mysterious force and came to the vacuum of the universe. Whoosh. Xiaoping immediately used his mana and covered his body with a layer of energy shield to maintain the air and block the erosion of various cosmic energy rays. He could barely live in the vacuum state for the time being. However, he could barely live. If he wanted to live freely in the vacuum state, he could not even live in the Golden Core realm. Only by advancing to the Consolidation realm could he easily live in the vacuum of the universe. However, it was not a big problem to maintain it for a short period of time. Xiaoping stood in the void with his eyes wide open. He discovered that the originally huge planet 5 elements had undergone a huge change. It was shrinking at a speed visible to the naked eye. After a few breaths, she turned into a little lowly wearing a white dress. She looked exactly like Dumbo. She was about 5 or 6 years old and only reached the height of his thigh. He has actually reached the realm of transformation? Corinne's eyes widened. My God, he has clearly been sealed for more than 100,000 years, but his cultivation base can keep growing. As expected of the Gaia clan, he is really abnormal. The so-called transfiguration was an ability unique to the Gaia race. They could transform into various life forms, be it humans, beasts, barbarians, or even dragons. It was because of this ability that when the Gaia race matured, even sages were unable to find Gaia's whereabouts. He could completely transform and blend into human society. After all, who could imagine that the body of a little lowly was a star that could move freely? Amazing. Xiaoping was also amazed. His infernal golden crow's eyes rotated slowly and saw through Dumbo's essence. He seemed to see the law of operation of a great planet, from birth, growth, destruction, and birth again. Although Dumbo's appearance had changed, her body still contained a star. The creatures living on the star did not notice anything wrong. They could still live and breathe freely. However, those lost people who had spaceships could no longer leave Planet 5 elements. Because Dumbo had awakened, the entire planet's outer shell was covered with a layer of powerful energy shield. Except for sages, no one could break through this layer of terrifying energy shield. This was equivalent to a space cage trapping all the creatures who wanted to leave. If Dumbo's cultivation improved, even if a sage entered the inner space of this planet, he would not be able to leave even half a step. Brother, can Dumbo follow you now? Dumbo came to Xiaoping's side. No problem, of course not. Xiaoping nodded. With Dumbo by his side, it was like having a super fighter. Although she was just a little lowly with small arms and short legs, her slender arms contained the power of a star. With one blow, even a powerful expert would be half crippled and vomit blood. Swoosh. He waved his hand and immediately threw out the multitude stars from the interspatial ring. Then he and Dumbo immediately returned to the inner space of the multitude stars spaceship. After all, he could not live in the vacuum of the universe for a long time. If he continued to stay for a long time, he was afraid that there would be a big problem. Corinne, is there any way to quickly enhance Gaia's power? Xiaoping looked at Corinne. He knew that Corinne had followed the multitude star sect master for a long time. Moreover, Corinne was a sage. Naturally, he was very familiar with Gaia's power and growth. If Gaia continued to grow and could become a sage, he could simply walk unhindered in the universe. Of course, there is a way. If you want to enhance Gaia's power, the most direct way is the soul. Corinne said. Soul? Xiaoping narrowed his eyes. Yes. Corinne said, Gaia is actually the will of the planet. It is a great soul life. It can be said to be a collection of countless lives. Originally, it could not be born, but it was still born. It is a miracle of the universe. It paused for a moment and continued, if Gaia is also a kind of life for humans, grains are food. But what is Gaia's food? Her food is the souls of living beings. Many humans appeared on Gaia planet. They were born, grew up, and died. Finally, their souls were absorbed by the planet and Gaia, becoming a part of Gaia, becoming Gaia's food, making Gaia stronger. Therefore, it is impossible for a planet without life to give birth to Gaia. Without souls to devour, Gaia will starve to death just like humans will starve to death if they don't eat. It can be said that if there are more living beings on Gaia planet, the stronger the living beings and the more powerful their soul power, then Gaia's power will become stronger and it will continue to prosper. If Gaia evolves, then the environment of Gaia planet will become better, the spiritual energy will become denser, and even the volume of space will continue to expand. Chapter 1480. After listening to Corinne's words, Xiaoping nodded. In other words, if we want Gaia to grow quickly, we have to capture more life forms and bring them into Gaia. The stronger the soul, the better. To be honest, there were not many things in the vast universe, but there were too many life forms. There were as many as the stars in the sky, so he felt that this was actually a trivial matter. Yes. Corinne nodded. But we have to stop before we go too far. After all, there are too many life forms. If it exceeds Gaia's capacity, it will lead to the collapse of the planet's ecology. That's not a good thing. Of course, I understand. Besides, not all life forms are good. It's best to have races with strong soul power. Xiaoping touched his chin. It would be even better if we can capture some dragons. He did not care. After all, Dumbo's internal space was the size of a star. In his previous life, Earth could accommodate at least 10 billion people. It was unknown how many there would be at the limit. Ordinary stars were 1.3 million times larger than Earth, so the number of people they could accommodate was even more terrifying. Of course, this was compared to humans. If it was a savage beast that was larger than humans, the number might be a little less. But even so, this was a rather terrifying population figure. The corners of Corinne's mouth twitched. Wishful thinking. If such a powerful race was so easy to capture, those races would have gone extinct many times over. But it was indeed as Xiaoping said. The stronger the race's soul power, the more beneficial it would be to Gaia. Brother. Dumbo ignored Xiaoping's words. She hugged Xiaoping's thigh and fell asleep. Xiaoping was speechless. He reached out and carried the little lowly and placed her in the bedroom. A week later, stars finally left the fog star sector. Xiaoping heaved a sigh of relief. After all, there were overlord beasts everywhere in this place. It was very stressful. Then stars traveled through the void. After a few weeks, they finally arrived at the edge of the southern universe. Right wish compass. Xiaoping took out the Khanate magic treasure wish compass. He wanted to find the existence of the soul-cleansing grass. He needed the power of this magic treasure. Swoosh. He penetrated it with his divine sense and transmitted his wish to the depths of the interior to find the soul-cleansing grass. Immediately, the power of the compass of wishes was activated. Gray streams of air surged out, mysterious and unfathomable like primal chaos. The power of fate was being affected. The needle on the compass spun furiously, sending mysterious fluctuations out in all directions. They spread out soundlessly throughout the entire southern universe, and no one seemed to be able to sense them. Suddenly, Xiaoping sensed that the compass's needle had stopped and was now pointing northeast. At the same time, a mysterious energy surged into the depths of Xiaoping's mind. It was as if a clear road sign had appeared in his soul, guiding him forward. How mysterious! Xiaoping was amazed. He had a strong premonition that as long as he followed this direction, he would definitely find the soul-cleansing grass. However, he also knew that activating the wish compass wasn't without a price. It needed to be charged, allowing the wish compass to devour the mysterious energy in the depths of the void. Only then could the wish compass unleash its power. Therefore, in order to activate the wish compass, it had to be charged at all times. However, some wishes were too small and only needed to be charged for a few hours. Some wishes were too big and needed decades or even hundreds of years or even tens of thousands of years to charge. However, this wish compass hadn't been used for a very long time, so the energy accumulated in its depths was rather astonishing. There was no need to worry that the wish compass wouldn't be able to be used for the time being. Swoosh. After a few more days, the myriad star sailed all the way and finally arrived at the location indicated by the wish compass. It was a desolate planet that seemed no different from an ordinary planet. Xiaoping looked over and discovered that this planet was densely covered in green plants and dense forests. It was like the ancient era of Earth. The oxygen content was extremely high, and there were powerful beasts growing everywhere. It was just like the desolate era. Let's go in. With a single thought, he immediately made the myriad star land on this planet. It broke through the atmosphere and arrived at a vast grassland. There were weeds that were half a person's height growing everywhere. What a powerful gravity. Xia Ping immediately sensed that this planet's gravity was extraordinary. It was more than 10 times that of an ordinary planet. One could imagine how powerful the creatures that lived on this planet were. They were definitely extraordinary. Of course, to the current him, a mere 10 times gravity was nothing. It was as good as nothing. The heaven and earth Yuan Qi here seems to be very active and violent. Xia Ping inhaled and exhaled the planet's heaven and earth Yuan Qi and discovered that it was more active than the other planets in the Eastern universe. Furthermore, it contained a hint of violent factors as if it could affect one's emotions. However, this didn't affect him much. When the heaven and earth Yuan Qi entered his body, it was instantly devoured and refined by the infernal golden crow bloodline. It's indeed violent. This is the special environment of the southern universe. Corinne said, the heaven and earth's origin energy contained in this universe's planets has a berserk factor. If a cultivator swallows this heaven and earth's origin energy over a long period of time, it will also lead to them having a violent factor. Their minds will always be filled with the idea of solving problems with violence, and they will get angry more easily than ordinary people. This is also why there are so many barbarians in the southern universe as well as many demonic sections. This is simply the best place for demonic sects to grow. You have to be careful when you enter the southern universe this time. There are countless powerful demonic sects here, and the people of these sects have endless means. They are vicious and ruthless, slaughtering planets and civilians at every turn. They treat ordinary people as pigs, and as long as there is a need, they will harvest a batch. Although the cultivators of the Eastern universe are also arrogant and conceited, they have a bottom line when doing things. They are restrained by the various sects, but the southern universe is different. They respect the strong and the weak are prey to the strong. There are no rules to speak of and there is no bottom line. Xia Ping nodded. In fact, he had also obtained a lot of information about the southern universe from the virtual network. Many cultivators of the Eastern universe despised the cultivators of the southern universe, calling them the southern barbarians, who only thought with their muscles. Moreover, many people also thought that the southern barbarians were very xenophobic, and at the same time very dangerous. They should not go to the southern universe unless it was necessary. Even the cultivators of the southern universe were aggressive by nature. In history they had invaded the Eastern universe countless times trying to burn, kill, and plunder resources. However, they had always been defeated and they had never succeeded. Suddenly, a cold light flashed in Xia Ping's eyes. The grassland around him trembled. Unknowingly, a large group of barbarians had surrounded him from all directions. There were hundreds and thousands of them. Chapter 1481. These are barbarians? Xia Ping narrowed his eyes and realized that there were thousands of barbarian warriors here. Among them there was an early-stage golden elixir, dozens of true fire, and a large number of transcendent barbarian warriors. He could sense that these barbarian warriors were engraved with complex and mysterious totems. There were dense patterns on them and they were not random drawings. They were done deliberately and contained mysterious energy. It was like the power of a heaven and earth formation that communicated with the power of heaven and earth. It was said that there were many barbarian tribes in the southern universe, and each tribe had their own totem. They could use their totem power to fight their enemies at any time and anywhere. Because of the totem power they were not afraid of death and were extremely strong. They did not need treasures because they had been tempered into treasures themselves, and their physical strength was so strong that it made people's hair stand on end. When the Eastern Universe cultivators fought with the Southern Universe cultivators, because they were not familiar with each other, the barbarian warriors of the Southern Universe got close to them and slashed them to death. However, ordinary treasures were not damaged at all when bombarded by the barbarian warriors. This made the barbarian warriors even more arrogant, thinking that the people of the Eastern Universe were basically weak and could not withstand a single blow. Outsider, who exactly are you? Why have you come to this planet? A barbarian leader stood out. He was the golden elixir cultivator. He was 3 meters tall and had muscles all over his body like an iron tower. His body was engraved with dense totems on his face, arms, thighs, chest, and other parts. To the barbarian warriors, the more totems they had, the more powerful they were and the higher their status. I'm a traveler from the Eastern Universe. I happened to pass by this planet and hope to resupply on this planet. Don't worry, once I'm done with water, food and other things I'll leave immediately. I won't stay here for too long, Xiaoping said immediately. A weakling from the Eastern Universe? No wonder he doesn't have a totem on him and looks so weak. So he's a loser from the Eastern Universe. It's said that the people of the Eastern Universe only rely on external objects and treasures. They don't train themselves. Without treasures, they're just trash that can be killed with a few punches and kicks. Indeed. I remember the last time they invaded the Eastern Cosmos. A mere warrior from an ordinary tribe killed over 100 Eastern Cosmos losers. You can imagine how weak they are. It can't be this kind of trash can occupy a universe? Is this a joke? If our tribe goes there, we might be able to occupy hundreds of life planets and build a barbarian kingdom. Many barbarians started discussing among themselves. However, their eyes were filled with contempt and mockery as they looked at Xiaoping. It was as if they were looking at an ant. They didn't put him in their eyes at all. Alright, I understand now. So you're a traveler from the Eastern Universe, which means that you're an outsider with no background or power to support you. The barbarian leader nodded. How about this, hand over all your treasures, pills, materials and the flying ship next to you. Become a slave of our tribe for 300 years and you'll live. He gave orders to Xiaoping arrogantly, completely treating him like a fat sheep to be slaughtered. Ha! Xiaoping narrowed his eyes. I've long heard that barbarians are extremely rude, unreasonable, arrogant, and despotic. They don't listen to others and have no moral bottom line. I thought it was an exaggeration, but I didn't expect it to be true. I'm just a traveler who happened to pass by. I don't have any deep hatred with you guys, but you actually want to rob me of all my wealth and make me a slave for 300 years? You guys are a little too much. He looked at this group of barbarians. Too much my ass. A barbarian warrior scolded. The Eastern Cosmos has its own rules and the Southern Cosmos has its own rules. What do you know? Invading our tribe's territory without permission is a capital offense. Now we're just asking you to hand over all your treasures and become a slave for 300 years. This is our tribe's kindness. We're giving you a chance to live, but you actually don't know how to cherish it. Do you believe that we won't kill you and rob you of all your treasures? You won't be able to do anything about it. He was filled with killing intent as he looked at Xiaoping with a cold smile. That's why I said that reading is still very useful. It allows me to speak calmly with you idiots. Come, since you guys want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. Xiaoping stood with his hands behind his back. Go, cripple this outsider's limbs. Don't kill him. He's a true Fire Realm slave after all. Capture him, put on a slave collar and sell him. It'll be a big profit. He's from the Eastern Cosmos, so the price is even higher. It's equivalent to a year of our tribe's annual income. The barbarian leader ordered, his eyes filled with greed. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. In an instant, 10 elite barbarian warriors of the true Fire Realm rushed out. They naturally separated into different positions, as if they had formed a battle totem, Black Bear Roar. The Black Bear totem on their backs immediately lit up. Every line was filled with dense magical power. The air behind them distorted, and a huge black bear vaguely appeared. It stood tall and roared at the sky. Their totem power from before converged together, and the chi of heaven and earth stirred, condensing into a black bear. It had thick fur and was tens of meters tall like a small mountain. The muscles on these barbarians' bodies also swelled up, and their blood and chi surged into the sky. They were bursting with power, as if the power of an ancient black bear was exerted on them. Every step they took caused the ground to shake, and a deep pit was formed in the ground. It was really an ancient black bear, earth-shattering, and a beast king coming out of the mountains to wreak havoc in the world. If one was punched by them, even if they had magical treasures to protect themselves, they would be instantly beaten to the point of coughing up blood, and their bodies would explode. This was the extreme power of violence. At this moment, Xiaoping made his move. He took a step forward, punched the air, shook it, and exploded. He activated the Youthful the Arch Longevity technique and the Youthful the Arch body. The wood elemental power of heaven and earth gathered in his fist, and the surroundings were filled with a green aura. The earth trembled, and everything within a few hundred meters became a vacuum. Dong. Before the 10 barbarian warriors could even get close, they were crushed by the wind from the punch. Their bodies burst like balloons, and with a bang they exploded on the spot, turning into minced meat. No matter how much they activated their totem power, they were as weak as chickens under this punch. In an instant they turned into a cloud of blood mist and disappeared from this world. This. Many of the barbarian warriors, including the barbarian leader, were dumbfounded. The scene was dead silent. They could not imagine that 10 elite barbarian warriors of the true fire realm could be killed by this weakling from the Eastern universe with a single punch. They turned into a cloud of blood and nothing was left. They could not say anything and their brains seemed to have short-circuited. What's wrong? Say something, just say it. Why can't you say anything now? Chapter 1482. You. The barbarian leader's face darkened. He was in a dilemma because Xia Ping's attack had instantly killed 10 true Fire Realm elite barbarian warriors. His ferocity was unparalleled. His strength had already reached the Golden Elixir realm. Even he, a barbarian powerhouse in the early Golden Elixir realm, could not easily kill 10 elite barbarian warriors in the true Fire realm. If Xia Ping was just an ordinary true Fire realm cultivator, they could kill him with a wave of their hands. But now it was different. This human from the Eastern universe had displayed his untouchable strength. If the fight continued, other than him, the other barbarian soldiers would die in the conflict between the Golden Elixir realm cultivators, causing the barbarian tribe to suffer heavy losses. Say something, have you become mute? Didn't you say you wanted to rob me of all my treasures and make me a slave for 300 years? Do you still want that? Xia Ping sneered and stared at the barbarian soldiers. Outsider, don't be too arrogant. The barbarian leader held back his anger. I admit that I underestimated your strength. I didn't expect you to be able to fight a Golden Elixir master. This is indeed my fault. You have the right to enter and exit this planet. How about this? I won't hold it against you for killing my barbarian soldiers, and I won't hold it against you for invading the barbarian territory. How about you leave now and we can coexist peacefully? Hearing this, Xia Ping laughed. I tried to talk to you nicely just now, but you're still acting tough here. You'll only know how powerful I am after you kill a few people. What is this called, taking a beating but not taking a punishment, or bullying the weak and fearing the strong? But since you've started the war, it's not up to you to decide when to end it. Only your blood can appease my anger. Whoosh! In an instant, Xia Ping's figure flashed and closed in. He activated the Arch Longevity technique and gathered a strong wood elemental Yuan Qi in his fist. Green runes appeared one after another. Vaguely, a world tree appeared behind him, connecting heaven and earth and the universe. It was all-encompassing and seemed to include earth, wind, water, fire, sun, moon, and the universe. His punch was like a piercing branch of the world tree, tearing through time and space, piercing through heaven and earth. It contained a terrifyingly sharp killing intent, indestructible and indestructible. Barbarian Totem, Undying Black Bear. Feeling the punch, the barbarian leader's hair stood on end. He immediately activated the totemic power in his body. Every drop of blood in his body boiled like lava. Every totem on his body appeared. Boundless heaven and earth Yuan Qi gathered on his body, condensing into a huge black bear, like a black bear king. This black bear king's strength was unparalleled. It was as if it had crossed through the ancient times and walked out from the uncivilized era. Every strand of its black fur was like a needle, and its body contained the strength to carry mountains. Boom. He also punched out, causing the earth to tremble. He seemed to have fused with the black bear totem and obtained the power of the ancient black bear. His body also rapidly expanded to a height of dozens of meters. At this moment, the barbarian leader had transformed into a black bear giant. He punched out with the force of a mountain. The surrounding space exploded inch by inch and the earth rumbled. Shockingly deep craters appeared and soil flew everywhere. Such a terrifying punch was enough to flatten dozens of mountains in an instant. But this punch was completely useless. Xia Ping's punch was like a ray of light that streaked across the night sky. It was a ray of light that pierced through the dark sky. It contained the supreme aura of the world tree and was indestructible. Dong. The two fists collided, and the barbarian leader immediately let out a shrill scream. Blood burst out from his fist, splashing out hundreds of meters and dripping on the ground. Even the green wood element fist force traveled along his fist, inch by inch, seeping into his internal organs, and then into the deepest part of the barbarian leader's body. In an instant, this green wood element Yuan Qi immediately took root in the barbarian leader's body, devouring the endless blood aura in his body and growing stronger. Xia Ping moved his mind, and with a boom, this green Yuan Qi immediately turned into a towering tree, growing out of the barbarian leader's body. In an instant, his entire body exploded and was torn into pieces. A golden core barbarian was killed just like that. The leader is dead. Quick retreat. This is a murderer from the Eastern universe. We can't fight him. Retreat, retreat immediately, or we will definitely die. We will block this murderer for a while. Take the opportunity to escape. Don't look back. Seeing the barbarian leader killed with a punch, the remaining barbarian elite soldiers felt as if they had fallen into an ice cave. They shuddered, knowing that they had really provoked a big shot that they could not afford to provoke. They regretted it so much that their intestines turned green. If they had not provoked this cultivator from the Eastern universe, perhaps this would not have happened. But it was too late to say anything now. Some elite soldiers also roared. They were unafraid of death and wanted to stop Xiaoping for a while. There were also barbarian soldiers who gritted their teeth. They knew that they could not do anything, so they quickly fled to preserve some vitality for their tribe. Therefore they were divided into two groups. One group wanted to stop Xiaoping and buy time, while the other group quickly fled. It's useless. None of you can escape. Xiaoping's eyes were indifferent and very cold. He was like a god, equal to all living beings. Since even the other party's leader had been killed, these barbarian soldiers could not be let go. After all, who knew what other powerful forces these barbarians had behind them? If these barbarians were allowed to leave alive and call for reinforcements, they would probably cause endless trouble. A problem like this had to be eliminated at the root to prevent any future troubles. Azure the Arch Longevity Technique, Omniscient Nature. Xiaoping cast a spell, manipulating the wood elemental chi of heaven and earth. A large array emerged from the depths of the earth. Densely packed array patterns appeared, gathering a vast amount of wood elemental chi. The tree of world in his body was also trembling, instilling endless wood elemental energy into it, making the array even more powerful and unfathomable. It was as if a divine tree was awakening. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Immediately, green vines emerged from the depths of the earth. Like god-slaying spears, they shot out from the ground, tearing the earth apart and piercing the barbarians' bodies in an instant. In just a few breaths, green vines covered a radius of 100 miles, as if the area had turned into a forest. Every step was filled with killing intent, and every plant was an enemy. These barbarian soldiers screamed and tried to resist, but it was of no use. Bang bang bang. After a while, thousands of elite barbarians were killed. None of them could escape more than a mile away. They had just moved when their bodies were pierced by the vines. Chapter 1483. After killing these barbarians, Xiaoping also obtained a lot of elixirs from them. They seemed to be from this desolate planet and contained powerful medicinal power. At the same time, he also obtained a jar of fierce beast blood from these barbarians. This blood was the essence of the beast they killed. If the blood of these beasts was refined into a medicinal liquid and smeared on the body, or if one took a medicinal bath, it could temper the body and allow the human body to undergo a powerful evolution, comparable to that of a fierce beast. The reason why these barbarian warriors were strong was not only because their physique was strong enough, but also because of the totem cultivation method. More importantly, it was because of the continuous tempering of the fierce beast blood. In addition to these things, he also found a lot of spirit stones and a mountain of materials. It could be said that he had made a small fortune. As for the golden core of the barbarian leader, it was also in Xiaoping's hands. As long as he could find the soul-cleansing grass, he could refine a pill. What is this? Xiaoping narrowed his eyes. From the storage ring of the barbarian leader, he found a wooden totem. It looked like an elephant and emitted a sacred aura. It was obviously just an ordinary totem, but it gave him the feeling that the elephant was alive. Its every movement contained a terrifying power, as if it could shatter a planet with just a lift of its trunk. Why is there an elephant totem? Xiaoping knew that these barbarian tribes in the southern universe could obtain the power of heaven and earth by visualizing the totem, making themselves stronger. The weaker tribes would visualize ordinary totems like black bears, foxes, wolves, and so on. The barbarians could obtain the strength of black bears, the speed of wolves, the charm of foxes, and so on. But the stronger tribes would visualize divine beasts like Swanee, nine-headed bird, Jianghu, Swanee, phoenix, and so on. The warriors of these powerful tribes would have a trace of the divine beast's power. If the totem they visualized was stronger, then the barbarians would naturally obtain more power. Of course, it did not mean that as long as they visualized it, they would definitely succeed. This required enough talent. If they did not have enough talent, even if they visualized the totem in front of them, they would not be able to obtain any power. This is not an ordinary elephant? Xiaoping stared at the totem and found that there were mysterious lines on the wooden totem, giving off a profound and unfathomable aura. It was indomitable and had a trace of the might of a divine beast. His spiritual power seeped in, and it was as if he could sense the terrifying power of an ancient divine elephant. Every cell seemed to have earth-shattering power that could suppress the universe. Could it be the legendary heaven-devouring elephant? Xia Ping was startled. He recalled that he had encountered a heaven-devouring elephant in the cloud world. It was a powerful race in the universe. They were extremely rare and almost extinct. However, in the ancient era, the heaven-devouring elephant was extremely powerful and was one of the overlord races. It emitted an aura that could devour the heavens and devour the earth. More often than not, a group of heaven-devouring elephants would traverse the starry sky, crushing one star after another. No one could match them. Even in the most ancient of hells, god mammoths were powerful god devils, and filled with boundless power that could suppress the hell of Avicii. Where did you get it from? Xia Ping knew that it was definitely not something from the barbarian leader's tribe. Perhaps it was an extremely precious secret treasure that he had obtained from some ancient ruins. After all, totem visualization was a top secret for barbarians, and it was monopolized by large barbarian tribes. If a small tribe wanted to obtain a high-level totem visualization technique, they would have to join a large tribe and work like a slave. If they were unwilling, then they could only visualize a weak totem. However, this would also cause the barbarian strength to be unable to improve, and they would always be weaker than the warriors of those large tribes. This was like a natural moat that could not be crossed. Unfortunately, this barbarian leader did not seem to have enough talent. Even though he had obtained this mysterious totem, he could not obtain any benefits from it. However, he was not willing to give up, and he still wanted to find a way to decipher the secret. Unfortunately, before he could decipher it, he was killed by Xia Ping, and the heaven-devouring elephant totem fell into Xia Ping's hands. Forget it, no matter where he got it from, this totem belongs to me now. Xia Ping thought happily. Although he had a lot of divine powers and secret techniques now, it did not mean that he did not need them. Who would complain about having more divine powers and secret techniques? Moreover, after cultivating this secret technique, if he encountered barbarians, he might be able to take the opportunity to pretend to be a barbarian. No matter what, it was also a method. With a whoosh, Xia Ping immediately put all these treasures into the space of the mountain river pearl. He did not have time to deal with these treasures for the time being, so he left it to the green bull to take care of. As for the secret of the heaven-devouring elephant totem, it would not be too late to study it after he obtained the soul-cleansing grass. Thinking of this, Xia Ping put away the stars, took out the wish compass, and moved forward according to the direction of the compass. A few hours later, Xia Ping flew over the grassland and entered the mountains. Along the way he encountered some barbarians, but he deliberately concealed himself so he did not have any conflict with them. After all, he had obtained the soul-cleansing grass this time, so before he got it, there was no need to cause trouble. Whoosh. Soon, Xia Ping arrived at the location indicated by the wish compass. It was a mysterious valley surrounded by a gray fog, so he could not see the situation in the valley. However, according to the instructions of the wish compass, the soul-cleansing grass should be in this valley. Someone beat me to it? Xia Ping squinted his eyes. He sensed that there was a formation outside the valley, and it seemed to be sealed. Although ordinary people could not see it, it could not hide from his hell golden crow eye. This was a space formation which was also very famous in the universe. It was called the Eight-Gate Ceiling Formation. Moreover, this formation had not been there for a long time. There were signs of loosening in the surrounding soil, which meant that this formation had been set up recently. Who is it? All of a sudden, before Xia Ping could break the formation, an angry roar came from the depths of the valley. It was like the roar of a ferocious tiger, earth-shattering, and contained endless murderous intent. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. In an instant, dozens of figures flew out from the depths of the valley. There were men and women, and they were all at least at the true fire realm. There were also 7 to 8 golden elixir realm cultivators, and even late-stage golden elixir realm experts. All of them wore the same uniform, which was a Taoist robe with the word poison embroidered on the back. It looked like it was condensed from venom, and it was like a venomous snake, emanating a strange and terrifying aura. Even the aura on these people was very unusual. It was like a venomous scorpion, venomous snake, jellyfish, spiders, and so on. Standing on the ground, the black aura instantly corroded the soil, causing the weeds to wither and turn black, as though they had been poisoned to death. Chapter 1484. 10,000 Poison Clan? Xiaoping narrowed his eyes. He had heard of this demonic sect before. It was said that every disciple of the 10,000 Poison clan mainly cultivated poison techniques. They were proficient in all kinds of poisons and their methods were cruel. In order to cultivate poison techniques, the disciples of this demonic sect often experimented on all kinds of mortals. They would easily poison the humans of a planet to death, causing a monstrous massacre. It could be said that most of the disciples of the 10,000 Poison clan were wanted criminals in the universe. If they entered other regions of the universe, they would be cursed by everyone. Once they were caught, they would be executed. However, the headquarters of the 10,000 Poison clan was in the southern universe. At the same time, the 10,000 Poison clan also had a sage. This also caused many saint-level sects to be unable to encircle and annihilate the 10,000 Poison clan. This also caused the people of the 10,000 Poison clan to roam freely and arrogantly. But even so, the ordinary disciples of the 10,000 Poison clan were proficient in poison techniques. Many cultivators were also very afraid of the people from the 10,000 Poison clan and were unwilling to provoke them. After all, once the people of the 10,000 Poison clan were cornered, they would immediately self-destruct. The poison in their body would erupt and contaminate the area within a radius of thousands of miles. It would cause the extinction of humans and animals and would not be able to recover for tens of thousands of years. If they hid in a bustling city and fought with the 10,000 Poison clan, who knew how many people would die? Who are you? Why did you come to this valley? Tell me your purpose immediately or I will make you wish you were dead. A disciple of the 10,000 Poison clan shouted with a murderous aura. He looked at Xiaoping as if he was looking at a dead man. I came to find the soul-cleansing grass. Xiaoping directly stated his purpose without hiding anything. What? How do you know that there is soul-cleansing grass in this valley? This is the top secret of the 10,000 Poison clan. Many disciples of the 10,000 Poison clan were shocked, especially those perfected golden cores who had a solemn expression. The soul-cleansing grass was a very precious spiritual medicine. No matter where it would be very useful. It was a huge fortune. They thought that they were the only ones who could discover the valley where the soul-cleansing grass grew and could monopolize it. But who would have thought that someone else also discovered the soul-cleansing grass in the valley? If this kid leaked this news, it would attract countless experts to flock over. Then what would they have to eat? Not even their bones would be left. Some people began to suspect that a traitor had appeared in the Wandu clan and leaked this information. The problem was, if it was really leaked, why was there only one person who came and he was only in the true fire realm? This kid coming here was no different from courting death. I don't know if it's a top secret or not, but I'm determined to get the soul-cleansing grass in this valley. Xiaoping stood with his hands behind his back. I'm not afraid to tell you that I'm a person with a great background. I have the support of a sage. If you know what's good for you, scram immediately. Otherwise, when I get angry, none of you will be able to escape. Don't even think about attacking me. Otherwise, if you anger the great power behind me, blood will flow like a river in your Wandu clan, and even saints will fall. In the universe, the most important ability is to adapt to the circumstances. Don't be like a mantis trying to stop a chariot. I hope you're not too stupid and do something that you'll regret for the rest of your lives. He looked at everyone disdainfully, like a hedonistic son of a rich family, not putting anyone in his eyes. He warned the Wandu clan disciples present, like a boss scolding his own employees. What? Hearing this, all the Wandu clan disciples present were driven mad. They were so angry that smoke came out of their nostrils. They simply wanted to immediately slaughter this arrogant kid and dismember his body into 10,000 pieces. They were the Wandu clan disciples, the demonic path's proud sons of heaven who were proficient in poison techniques. They had always been lawless, who could still flaunt their prowess above their heads and use their power to oppress others. But this kid was good. Not only did he not feel the slightest bit of fear towards their identity as Wandu clan disciples, he even dared to oppress them in front of their faces. His arrogance was boundless. Damn it, this kid is too arrogant. Senior brother, kill this guy immediately. Yeah, I don't know where this guy came from, but he actually dares to talk nonsense to us. Don't tell me that the world doesn't know how powerful our Wandu clan is. I'm going to poison him so that he'll wish he was dead. Who cares what his identity is? A person who dares to run amok in front of our Wandu clan hasn't even been born yet. Many Wandu clan disciples gnashed their teeth. They communicated with each other using their divine senses. They were very fierce and dissatisfied with Xiaoping. They even had a trace of killing intent. Don't be anxious. This guy is so arrogant. I think he might have something to rely on. That's true. This kid is just a junior in the true fire realm. He actually dared to retort in front of so many of us. He's either stupid or he has a trump card. I don't think he's stupid. And there's another question. How did this guy know that there's soul-cleansing grass in this valley? It can't be that our Wandu clan people leaked it. I once heard that someone is proficient in fortune-telling. He can calculate the opening time of various ruins and predict the birth of various elixirs and secret treasures. Maybe this kid's elders are proficient in this secret skill and gave him the information about the soul-cleansing grass. Is he that powerful to be able to predict the soul-cleansing grass? Can't he predict that his life is in danger? Although fortune-telling is powerful, it's not omnipotent. It's already impressive to be able to predict the location of the secret treasure. Many perfected golden cores were very cautious. Although they were disciples of the demonic cult, they were not arrogant and conceited. Instead, they were more cautious than ordinary people. Xiaoping's arrogance made them not dare to act rashly. Senior brother, if this kid is really a disciple of a big clan, he must have many secret treasures. If we can kill him, won't all his treasures be ours? He's a fat sheep. That's right. No matter which clan he's from, our Wandu clan is not afraid of anything. If we kill him, we kill him. Would they dare to find trouble with our Wandu clan? Aren't they afraid of death? Don't worry. We can kill such a useless true fire realm at any time. We can pinch him to death with one finger. How much of a threat can such a useless person pose to us? On the contrary, keeping this kid alive will be beneficial to us. We can kill him with a borrowed knife. We can use his life to distract the powerful beast in the valley and let the beast kill him. Then we can take the opportunity to enter the valley and plunder the soul-cleansing grass. Moreover, it doesn't matter if he has a background. Anyway, it's the beast that killed him, not us. Even if it were to be reported to the elders, we would still be in the right. This is killing 3 birds with 1 stone. Brilliant. Truly brilliant. Senior brother, you're indeed a schemer. In this way, not only can we distract the beast in the valley and take the opportunity to obtain a large amount of soul-cleansing grass, we can also kill him with a borrowed knife. This kid will work for us and be the bait. None of our Wandu clan disciples will die. This is great. Let him be arrogant now. He doesn't know that he has long fallen into our trap. When he knows the truth, I'm afraid he will cry on the spot. Chapter 1485. Brother. Wandu clan's big senior brother stood out. My name is Qin Shi. I am the big senior brother of this group of Wandu clan disciples. I'm really sorry. I didn't expect you to be such a big shot. Shouting like this is too offensive. I apologize to you on behalf of my senior brothers. I hope you can be magnanimous and forgive their rashness. He revealed a smile like a spring breeze, like an elegant young master. And it's good that you know you're wrong. If you know you're wrong, then change. I'm also a magnanimous person. I won't care about these small fries causing trouble for me. Remember not to do this next time. Xiaoping waved his hand, showing a magnanimous look. Hearing this, the Wandu clan disciples clenched their teeth. They couldn't wait to bite this guy to death. Give him a little sunshine and he will shine. Give him a smile and he will overflow. Their big senior brother said this out of humility. But this kid took advantage of the situation and showed an arrogant attitude, as if he was their elder. He even asked them to change their mistakes. Damn it. How could this bastard say such words? Did he really think he was the big boss? Wandu clan's big senior brother Qin Shi's mouth twitched. He didn't expect that his respect was taken seriously by the other party. It was as if he really treated him as a subordinate. He couldn't help but feel a trace of anger in his heart. But he was very shrewd. On the surface, he still maintained his composure and smiled. Brother, you're right. I will go back and teach them a lesson. Let them know the rules. They behave atrociously all day long. They have no respect for their elders. Qin Shi still said calmly. Forget it. This is a small matter. Xiaoping stared at the group of Wandu clan disciples and asked, You came to this valley. Obviously you obtained a lot of soul-washing grass. Why are you still here? Because there is a soul-gathering fruit growing in the valley. It is about to ripen. We are waiting for it to ripen. And because the soul-gathering fruit is about to ripen, this valley has attracted many powerful beasts. We can't do anything for the time being. Qin Shi directly revealed the secret of the valley. He wasn't worried that this secret would be leaked. Because in his eyes, this kid was already a dead man. Soul-gathering fruit? What a treasure. Even the heavens are looking after me. Once I came to this place, not only can I obtain soul-washing grass, I can even obtain soul-gathering fruit. Xiaoping laughed. He knew that the soul-gathering fruit was a heavenly treasure that was extremely precious. It contained pure soul energy, and once consumed, it would immediately increase one's soul strength and talent. After all, there were very few treasures that could increase one's soul force. Without a doubt, if the soul-gathering fruit was put up for auction, it would definitely fetch an astonishing price. Many people would not be able to afford it even if they went bankrupt. The heavens are watching over us. It was probably the Grim Reaper's blessing. Many disciples of the Wandu clan sneered again and again. This silly brat really thought that all the treasures in the valley belonged to him. With their Wandu clan in this place, how could these treasures belong to him? Of course, he would have to use this idiot later, so he would ignore his crazy words for the time being. By the way, brother, how should I address you? Qin wanted to find out more about Xiaoping. Wu Wudi. Xiaoping stood with his hands behind his back, looking down from above, emitting a superior aura. This is really a good name. The person really lives up to his name. The corner of Qin's mouth twitched. In this era where martial artists ran rampant, there were many experts. This brat actually dared to use the name Wu Wudi. How arrogant was he? Wasn't he afraid of being beaten up when he went out? The people of the Wandu clan at the side had a strange look in their eyes. This brat really lived up to his name, arrogant and conceited. He was like a frog at the bottom of a well, not knowing how big the world was. With such little strength, he dared to call himself Wu Wudi. Did he really think that the other martial artists were useless? Let's skip the pleasantries. I want to enter the valley to take a look. If I can get some soul-cleansing grass, I can give you some if I have extra. However, the soul-gathering fruit belongs to me. Don't even think about it. As a person, you must know your place. Don't think about those useless things all day, understand? Xiaoping said faintly. Damn, this brat is too arrogant. I can't stand him for even a second. Give him some face. He actually dared to defecate and pee on our heads. Kill him immediately. Don't worry. This Wu Wudi is already a dead man. Don't bother with a dead man for now. That's right. He will know his mistake later. He will know how terrifying it is to offend our Wandu clan. That's right. A little impatience spoils great plans. Don't be impulsive. What's the harm in tolerating him for a while? Many Wandu clan disciples communicated with their divine senses. They were infuriated by Xiaoping's arrogant words. Some hot-tempered disciples immediately wanted to poison this brat to death, but they were dissuaded by the golden core perfected masters. That's to be expected. After all, in this universe, the strong are respected. She smiled slightly. His eyes inadvertently revealed a trace of cold light. Brother Wu is powerful. Naturally, he can occupy all the treasures. For small characters like us, it would be a great harvest if we can get a few soul-cleansing grass. Brother Wu, let's go this way. We have already set up an array in the valley. It can hide our aura and will not be discovered by the wild beasts. Once the soul-gathering fruit matures, we will suddenly attack and kill this group of stupid wild beasts. We can easily obtain the soul-gathering fruit and many soul-cleansing grass. He invited Xiaoping into the valley. Well done. Xiaoping ordered. He took a big step and walked directly into the valley. Swoosh. Very soon he stepped into the valley. Immediately he felt that the surrounding area was set up with a tyrannical restriction array. The aura of the space seemed to isolate this area from the surroundings. People outside could not sense the situation in this space at all. It was as if they were hidden in a different dimension. Soul-gathering fruit. Sure enough, Xiaoping's divine sense penetrated it and immediately sensed that there was a spirit fruit growing in the center of the valley. It looked like a durian and had many spiraling patterns on it. It emitted a mysterious aura that contained dense soul energy. On the ground around the spiritual fruit, there were soul-cleansing grass. It was like a grassland. It was densely packed and almost covered the entire valley. At this moment, there were many powerful wild beasts around the valley. Their eyes were red and they emitted a terrifying murderous aura. They stood motionlessly around the soul-gathering fruit. These wild beasts were powerful and had already reached the golden core realm. Moreover, there were many of them. There were more than 10 to 20 of them. Among them, there were 3 to 4 golden core realm beasts. It was no wonder that the people of Wandu clan did not dare to act rashly. After all, these wild beasts had strong blood and some were not even afraid of poison. If they dared to make a move, they would be killed by these wild beasts immediately. Chapter 1486. Seeing Xiaoping step into the valley, Qin Shi and the others immediately smiled and felt relieved. This kid stepping into the valley meant that he had entered their territory. No matter how many powerful trump cards this guy had, once he entered their territory, even if he was a dragon he would have to lie down, and even if he was a tiger he would have to lie down. Xia Ping knew the thoughts of this group of 1,000 Poison Clan disciples like the back of his hand. However, he did not care. After all, under absolute strength, this group of people would not be able to stir up any waves. Is this the soul-gathering fruit? It looks like it'll take at least a month to ripen. Xia Ping narrowed his eyes and looked at the soul-gathering fruit in the middle of the valley. The spirit fruit was far from ripe. However, waiting for more than a month was too long. He didn't want to waste time here, so he decided to accelerate the ripening of this spiritual fruit. The fire of life. With a swoosh, Xia Ping circulated the flame of life within his body. A wisp of green flame seeped through the void and entered the body of the spirit fruit without anyone noticing. Rumble, immediately, the soul-gathering fruit seemed to have received a great tonic. A whirlpool formed in its body, and a huge amount of primordial qi in the surrounding void rushed into the body of the fruit, like a whale nibbling away at food. Vaguely, the patterns on the fruit became even clearer, as if it was engraved with many heaven and earth array formations. There were even many soul phantoms appearing behind the fruit, creating a phenomenon of heaven and earth. At the same time, it also emitted a boundless fragrance that spread out for miles. This was not an ordinary fragrance, but a fragrance that came from the soul. It was captivating and it was impossible to control one's emotions. The countless soul-cleansing grass on the ground were all swaying, cheering in joy. They were also growing crazily as if they had obtained great benefits. Roar! Such a change immediately attracted the attention of the surrounding wild beasts. One by one they climbed up from the ground and roared towards the sky. Their eyes were filled with excitement as they stared at the soul-gathering fruit that was about to ripen. To savage beasts, the soul-gathering fruit was extremely beneficial. It could awaken one's intelligence and increase one's soul energy significantly. This was the key to advancing one's cultivation to the next level, and there was no room for mistakes. Naturally, many disciples of the 10,000 Poison Clan also noticed the situation. Look, something happened to the soul-gathering fruit. My God, it's about to ripen. Didn't they say that the soul-gathering fruit would take more than a month to ripen? How did he suddenly mature so quickly? What exactly happened? It said that it will take another month to ripen, but that's just an estimate. After all, this is a spiritual fruit, a treasure of heaven and earth. It's normal for something special to happen. Don't think about why, just take action later and snatch the soul-cleansing grass and soul-gathering fruit. Don't let these two treasures be ruined by this group of savage beasts. These are treasures that belong to our Wandu clan. That's right. It's better for them to mature faster. That way we won't have to wait here for a month. Many of the 10,000 Poison Clan disciples were very excited. Although the soul-gathering fruit matured faster than they had imagined, the news of the soul-gathering fruit soon still made them incomparably happy. Ah! Xia Ping suddenly burst into laughter. The soul-gathering fruit has finally ripened. Sure enough, the heavens are looking after me. The spirit fruit has ripened as soon as I arrived. This is the heavens' instruction. Quickly kill these beasts and bring me the soul-amassing fruits. I will reward you handsomely later. Everyone will get a share. I Wu Wudi will not mistreat the servants who work for me. He waved his hand, intending to command the group of Wandu clan disciples to bring him the soul-gathering fruit. But at this moment, a terrifying gravitational force suddenly came from this area. It was as if dozens of mountains were crushing down, instantly controlling Xia Ping and making him unable to move. Idiot. Qin Shi walked over and sneered. He looked at Xia Ping with disdain and said, I gave you some face just now, but you really think you are the boss. You think you can scare us with just a few words? You overestimate yourself and are stupid to the extreme. I have never seen a fool like you. You will stay here and we will hide nearby. Then, this defensive array will be completely exposed and you will be the bait to attract those savage beasts. Then, dozens of restrictive arrays in this area will explode instantly, producing an earth-shattering power. This power is enough to blow you and those savage beasts to death. Wuwudi, thank you for coming. Otherwise, we would not be able to find such a good bait. But don't worry. After you die, all the treasures on you will belong to us. We will make sure that the treasures on you are worth it. You don't have to worry about the pearls being covered in dust. Of course, if you have a wife, you can entrust her to us and help you take good care of her. Brothers, the soul-amassing fruits are about to ripen. Let's do it now. Kill those stupid savage beasts and this good-for-nothing son of a bitch. Let's reap the benefits. Bang. Just as he finished speaking, all of a sudden, the surrounding restrictive spell formation instantly exploded. It was torn apart by a terrifying force, and all the spell formation foundations were blown to smithereens. The surrounding Wandu clan disciples who were close to Xiaoping did not expect such a thing to happen. Their bodies felt like they were hit by savage beasts and they were sent flying. With a puff, these Wandu clan disciples coughed up blood in midair and retreated hundreds of meters. They were seriously injured on the spot. Whoosh. In the next second, a figure disappeared from where he stood. It was as if he had escaped into a different dimension. The Wandu clan disciples present did not know how Xiaoping left. At the same time, because of the explosion of this tyrannical force, all the restrictive arrays were torn apart. The sound of the explosion spread throughout the valley and immediately alarmed the many savage beasts in the center of the valley. Roar! Originally, the soul-amassing fruits were about to ripen. Many savage beasts were very vigilant as if they were facing a great enemy. Now, such a sudden change happened. There were humans lying in ambush. This matter was like poking a hornet's nest. Many tyrannical savage beasts stared at the group of Wandu clan disciples. They were filled with murderous intent and their eyes were filled with murderous light. These murderous lights condensed into a substance. Like laser beams, they pierced through the void and intertwined with each other. Bastard! Qingxi was shocked and angry. Seeing that the surrounding restrictive arrays were broken and their traces were completely exposed, he was immediately scared out of his wits by so many tyrannical savage beasts. Damn you, Wu Wudi! That despicable, shameless bastard! Before he left, he actually destroyed our restrictive spell formation and exposed our whereabouts. He's trying to kill us. How did that bastard know the weakness of our restrictive arrays? He actually destroyed the nodes of the arrays with one strike, causing the restrictive arrays to collapse. Could he be a master of arrays? Don't think so much. Retreat. Quickly retreat. There are so many savage beasts in the valley. If we don't escape, we will die. The group of Wandu clan disciples turned pale with fright. They were terrified. Their hatred for Xiaoping had reached its peak. If they had the chance to catch him, they would have torn this despicable slut apart. They were actually faced with such a life-and-death crisis because of a moment of carelessness. All of them regretted it so much that their intestines turned green. If they had known earlier, they would have killed this slut Wu Wudi. Chapter 1487. One after another, savage beasts charged out of the valley. They were extremely ferocious and their ferocious might shook the heavens and earth. Although they were savage beasts and did not have high intelligence, they knew that those who were not of the same race would not be of the same mind. Moreover, they had fought with humans for countless years and had long formed a life-and-death enmity. Upon seeing these humans appear, they actually laid in ambush and attempted to snatch the soul-gathering fruits. This was bad. These savage beasts did not say a word and immediately joined hands. They planned to kill this group of humans before discussing how to split the soul-gathering fruits. Otherwise, if they killed each other, this group of humans might benefit from it. Swoosh! A ferocious bird the size of a small mountain flew over from the sky. It stretched out its claws and tore the heavens and earth. Even a mountain would be easily torn into two. It contained supreme sharpness. Its speed was extremely fast. With a flap of its wings, it instantly left its original spot and charged towards the Wandu clan disciples. Dong! A violent ape jumped up from where it was. Dense blood runes appeared on its body and seemed to have condensed into armor. It was like a raging monster that crushed over, causing the ground to crack. The surrounding Wandu clan disciples could feel the immense strength of this violent ape. It was as though if they were hit by this savage beast's fist, they would basically be crippled and their entire body would be turned into minced meat. Boom! A golden lion roared towards the sky, emitting sound waves that were so solid that they shook the heavens and earth. Sound runes blasted over, condensing into blades, swords, arrows, hammers and other weapons in the air. Even if they were wearing defensive treasures, they would still be severely injured. Bang bang bang. Many Wandu clan disciples immediately joined hands and instantly set up a defensive formation. Hundreds of layers of energy barriers stacked up and covered the entire area. But when these savage beasts attacked, they instantly pierced through the hundreds of layers of energy barriers and exploded. Some of the Wandu clan disciples immediately cried out in pain and coughed out blood on the spot. Their lungs were severely injured. Even the Golden Core Realm spiritual masters suffered moderate injuries and were forced to retreat. Despicable Wu Wudi, I will remember you. Don't let me catch you or I will definitely skin you alive and tear you into pieces. Qin Shi roared with extreme hatred. Originally he wanted to plot against Xia Ping and use him as bait. Who would have thought that they would be used as bait by the other party and even attracted dozens of tyrannical savage beasts to attack, causing their lungs to be severely injured. This was simply going for wool and coming home shorn. Each and every one of the Wandu clan's disciples was also unable to restrain their anger. It had always been them plotting against their enemies. When had they ever been plotted against by their enemies? This was the first time they had suffered such a big loss. All of them gnashed their teeth and swore to take revenge on this bitch. Idiot. At this moment, Xia Ping was hiding in a nearby corner. He used the power of the mountain river pearl to completely conceal his aura, as if he was in a different dimension. This kind of concealment technique was extremely brilliant. The 10,000 Poison Clan disciples and the many savage beasts present did not expect that there would be a person eyeing them covetously at the side. He didn't plan to make a move either. He stayed on the sidelines and watched the tigers fight. Stupid beasts. You are still far from becoming my Wandu clan's enemy. Martial Path Divine Ability Viper Chaotic Sky Technique. Qin Shi shouted angrily and displayed the supreme poison divine ability of Wandu clan. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. In an instant, a terrifying poisonous gas was emitted from his body. Poisonous gas runes appeared and rapidly condensed into black poisonous snakes that were 3 feet long. They soared through the clouds and flew in mid-air. There were many of these black poisonous snakes. When tens of thousands of them gathered together, it was as if they had formed a black poisonous fog. It covered the sky and covered a radius of a few miles. Kill? Qin Shi activated the power of his divine ability. Tens of thousands of black poisonous snakes formed a huge array. Poisonous fog filled the sky as they charged towards the group of savage beasts. Bang bang bang. These black poisonous snakes were extremely terrifying. In an instant they tore apart the tough skin of the savage beasts. Their teeth bit in and the venom instantly seeped into their bodies. Roar roar roar. The savage beasts let out angry and sorrowful roars. Their bodies turned black at a speed visible to the naked eye as they were corroded by the venom. In a few breaths' time, the vitality in their bodies was extinguished. However, there were some savage beasts with extremely strong vitality that could resist the venom. Such an action not only didn't kill these savage beasts, but it made them even angrier. They stimulated the power of their bloodline and became extremely violent. They charged forward and instantly killed a golden core perfected cultivator, tearing his body apart on the spot. Bastard, die die die. Die. Qin Shi and the rest went crazy. This was a battle of life and death. No one could avoid it. If they didn't fight with their lives on the line, they would die in the hands of these savage beasts. The savage beasts were the same. They tore and slammed crazily. They used all their skills and fought in a bloody battle. The earth trembled. Mountains were shattered and leveled to the ground by the aftershocks of the battle. An hour later, the battle between both parties was even more intense. The scope of the battle wasn't just limited to the valley. It had even spread to thousands of kilometers around the valley. The battle caused the sky to collapse and the earth to crack. The mountains and rivers were shattered. Although the number of golden core perfected cultivators in Wandu clan was few, they were after all disciples of a Saint-class sect. Furthermore, they were disciples of Devil Dao. They had endless methods and used various poison techniques. Even though these savage beasts had strong physiques, they were still much weaker than the disciples of Wandu clan. With the help of powerful poison techniques, the savage beasts were poisoned to death one after another. Of course, there were many casualties among the disciples of Wandu clan. There were even 2 or 3 golden core perfected cultivators who had their bodies torn apart by the savage beasts. Their golden cores were swallowed whole. They died horribly. Good chance. Xia Ping waited for an hour. Finally, the battle between the two parties had reached a climax. Both parties were fighting with all their might. It was impossible for them to stop in a short period of time. Swoosh. His figure flashed and he immediately appeared in the middle of the valley. With a grab, he stored the soul-gathering fruit into the space of the mountain river pearl. At the same time, the soul-cleansing grass on the ground was swept clean like a hurricane. Even the weeds were uprooted, leaving nothing behind. After doing all that, Xia Ping didn't stay in the same place and fled out of the valley. Damn it. Qin Shi and the rest naturally sensed the aura fluctuations from Xia Ping and the changes in the valley. The soul-cleansing grass and soul-gathering fruit were all snatched away by this bitch. Damn you, Wu Wudi. I'll never forgive you. Some of the golden core perfected cultivators were fuming with anger. They had fought hard against the savage beasts and lost dozens of Wandu clan disciples. 3 golden core perfected cultivators were also torn apart by the savage beasts. Yet they didn't get anything. Yet this kid hid at the side and left after snatching the soul-gathering fruit and soul-cleansing grass when they weren't paying attention. All the benefits had been taken away by him, leaving nothing behind. They were extremely resentful and couldn't wait to chase after Wu Wudi and kill him. Chapter 1488. Xia Ping ignored the anger of Qin Shi and the rest. After he left the valley, he left the planet with stars. Since he had already obtained the soul-cleansing grass, there was no need for him to stay on the planet. Moreover, this was the southern universe, the territory of the Thousand Poison Clan. Now that he had offended Qin Shi and the other disciples of the Thousand Poison Clan, who knew how many people they would bring to find trouble with him? Perhaps some elders would be involved. Therefore, Xia Ping left immediately so that no matter how angry they were, they couldn't find anyone to take revenge on and could only hold it in. This soul-gathering fruit is really magical. Xia Ping sat in a quiet room and took out the soul-gathering fruit. He looked at it carefully and could feel the miraculousness of the spirit fruit. It seemed to be a strange fruit that was born from devouring the spirit energy of heaven and earth. Even though his soul force was powerful now, after refining the soul-gathering fruit, it would still be of great benefit to him. The fruit even seemed to have the ability to absorb the nearby souls. Although it wasn't as overbearing as the soul-devouring beast's ability, it could also gradually increase his soul power. Therefore, the soul-gathering fruit was extremely precious and priceless. One could imagine that the disciples of the Thousand Poison Clan had lost the soul-gathering fruit and wasted months of effort. The hatred in their hearts was probably going to explode the planet. As for the soul-cleansing grass, the green bull had already obtained it. A part of it was used to refine the golden elixir while the other part was planted. This way he could obtain the soul-cleansing grass continuously and didn't have to look for it elsewhere. I wonder what the soul-gathering fruit tastes like. At the thought of this, Xia Ping swallowed the soul-gathering fruit. It melted in his mouth and turned into a liquid that quickly flowed into his limbs and bones before surging into the depths of his brain. Boom. Xia Ping felt that the soul-gathering fruit seemed to have turned into a mysterious gray energy that quickly integrated into the depths of his soul. His soul power was growing at a speed visible to the naked eye. His purple mansion space also seemed to benefit from the growth of his soul power as it kept expanding. In just a few breaths, his purple mansion space had expanded by 1/3 compared to before. His soul power had also reached a shocking level. Even a cultivator at the peak of the golden elixir realm was far from him. At the same time, he also felt that his soul seemed to have undergone some changes. A gray mysterious rune appeared and condensed into a vortex, constantly devouring the soul power that permeated the depths of the void. Although this ability didn't bring immediate results to Xia Ping, the growth of his soul power was still quite astonishing after accumulating for a long time. Furthermore, this ability was much safer than the soul-devouring beast's ability. It was like a thin stream flowing for a long time. Dripping water could wear through a stone. As his soul power grew, Xia Ping felt as if the golden crow cells in his body had been completely activated. One after another, the golden crow cells were unsealed. 1,000, 5,000, 10,000, 20,000. In the end, the number of infernal golden crow cells in his body had reached 1,000,000. His magic power was also increasing rapidly, constantly filling up the empty space of his purple palace. His power was also rising steadily. The massive golden crow of hell's energy tempered his body, causing every drop of blood in his body to turn into dark golden flames. His power was invincible. However, before he could rejoice, he immediately felt his heart palpitate. He could not help but look at the cosmic vacuum outside the spaceship. This seemed to have reached a critical point. An aura that made one's heart palpitate appeared in the depths of the void, as if a heavenly tribulation was brewing. Lightning energy madly gathered, as if it was about to be struck by lightning. Oh no, I have to find a planet to undergo the heavenly tribulation as soon as possible. Xia Ping did not expect that consuming a soul-gathering fruit would improve his golden crow of hell bloodline by a lot, awakening 1,000,000 golden crow of hell cells. If it were any other time he would be very happy. However, he was piloting the Myriad Star and was in outer space. It was not a good thing to undergo the heavenly tribulation in such a place. Don't worry, there's a planet nearby. The Myriad Star can immediately pass through the wormhole and travel there. Corinne also sensed that Xia Ping's current situation was very dangerous. It seemed that the aura of the tribulation was spreading, and it was extremely terrifying. Swoosh. In an instant, the myriad star was activated at full speed and traveled through the void. In the next second, it arrived at a primitive planet nearby. Xia Ping immediately got out of the spaceship and flew in the air. At this moment, the entire primitive planet was covered in dark clouds, as if a black cloud had wrapped the planet. It was airtight and terrifying lightning energy was brewing in the depths of the clouds. Wormholes even opened outside the planet. It was as if countless terrifying lightning energy was going to pour out from the depths of the wormholes and destroy the creatures that this universe did not tolerate. I'm facing the 45th lightning tribulation this time? It's more than a few times stronger than the previous lightning tribulation. Xia Ping's expression was solemn as he sensed the terrifying lightning energy brewing in the dark clouds. Vaguely, it seemed that the lightning transformed into the phantom of a deity. There was a thunder god descending, holding a spear, a drum, a heavy hammer and other weapons, wanting to destroy all evil in the world. Oh, another bloodline god art. Suddenly Xia Ping had an idea. He formed a seal with both hands, and a huge black furnace appeared in the depths of the void. It was mysterious and unfathomable, and densely packed ancient characters appeared on it. Some were chaotic characters as if they had been born since the beginning of chaos. They represented supremacy, antiquity, chaos, and seemed to be the power of the source. Some were flame characters, and each character represented the true essence of fire, containing the power to destroy the world. It was as if a drop of fire could turn into an indestructible flaming mountain that would burn for thousands of years. Some were characters from hell, twisting like primordial godworms. They were like supreme scriptures, representing the power of hell, the six Daos, reincarnation, destruction, redemption, and all sorts of other things. These characters intertwined with each other, engraved on the surface of the black furnace. It was as if an ancient fiend god had engraved a supreme scripture onto it, filled with terrifying power. Ordinary cultivators would feel as if their brains were about to explode if they looked at it. They would feel as if their heads were about to explode, and their heads would ache to the point of bursting to death. He knew that this time, he had awakened the bloodline divine ability of the Golden Crow of Hell, the Hellfire Crucible. Originally, Xia Ping's Dantian region had a solar crucible that could incinerate all sorts of strange true energy, magical power, and other types of energy. It was powerful enough to devour all energy in the world and expel impurities. The solar crucible was only useful for cultivation, and didn't have much offensive power. But the Hellfire Crucible was different. It was the innate divine ability of the Golden Crow of Hell, an offensive divine ability. Once it was unleashed, it could melt the heavens and incinerate the earth. Even fiend gods would be refined to death, just like Taoist Tai's pill furnace. With this divine ability he could defend against all attacks and completely refine the divine abilities and secret arts of his enemies, reducing them to ashes. Chapter 1489. Bang Bang Bang. Just then, up in the sky, the aura of the thunder tribulation reached its peak. Thick bolts of purple lightning rained down, hundreds and thousands of them. Every purple thunderbolt could easily kill a true fire realm cultivator. Hundreds and thousands of thunderbolts could even severely injure a golden elixir realm cultivator. Hellfire Crucible. In the blink of an eye, Xia Ping used this bloodline mystique. The Hellfire Crucible appeared above his head, and countless bolts of purple lightning rained down on it. The Hellfire Crucible spun, and countless hellish characters moved, forming a scripture. It was as if a Taotai had appeared, opening its mouth and swallowing the purple lightning. Whoosh! Xia Ping activated the Hellfire Crucible, and the Golden Crow Inferno in the depths of the Hellfire Crucible spun slowly like a millstone. The purple lightning was immediately refined into the purest form of energy. Next, a mysterious lightning-type rune appeared within him, formed from the Chaos Thunder technique. On the surface it looked like a rune, but it actually contained a space of lightning. It was like a sea of lightning swallowing up the pure lightning energy. The space of lightning had been empty, but after swallowing the lightning, it filled up a portion, making the rune's aura stronger and stronger. It contained the aura of the thunder tribulation. This also made Xia Ping's Chaos Thunder technique improve qualitatively, and his Thunder Emperor body seemed to become even stronger. Rumble, it seemed that Xia Ping's arrogant actions had angered the heavenly tribulation even more. The dark clouds that had covered the entire planet began to shrink, compress, and compress. After a few minutes, the dark clouds were only 100 miles wide. They were so thick that they were hundreds of kilometers long like the atmosphere. Spaceships could not break through them. Although the area of the heavenly tribulation had shrunk, the power of the thunder tribulation was extremely dense. It was many times more terrifying than before, and if a bolt of purple lightning struck down, it could instantly reduce a mountain to ashes. Come on. Xiaoping's eyes lit up. He activated all the magic in his body, and every cell in his body exploded with power, making the Hellfire Crucible even more terrifying. It expanded by 100 miles. No matter how much lightning there was, it would be swallowed up by the Hellfire Crucible. This was the clash between the heavenly tribulation and the golden crow of hell. The 45th lightning tribulation lasted for an entire day and night. It seemed as if the heavenly tribulation would not rest until Xiaoping was dead. Unfortunately, thanks to the Hellfire Crucible, the tribulation lightning couldn't do anything to him. As soon as it touched the crucible, it was absorbed and used as fuel for his primal chaos lightning magic. No matter how unwilling the heavenly tribulation was, it had no choice but to disappear when the thunder tribulation energy in the dark clouds was exhausted. The dark clouds dispersed, and the planet returned to its original state. It's finally over. Xiaoping breathed out a sigh of relief. Even though the mana within his body was thick and strong, he had been struck by the tribulation lightning for an entire day and night. His body might be able to endure it, but his mind might not be able to. He felt that his soul was very tired and he wanted to sleep. However, he had also gained a lot from this thunder tribulation. His strength and magic power had increased explosively. Chaos lightning art. Xiaoping's eyes revealed a glimmer of light, and there seemed to be pure thunder energy revolving in the depths of his pupils. There was also a thunder talisman residing in the depths of his Zifu space. There was a dimension within the talisman that had devoured most of the tribulation lightning power, turning it into a sea of lightning that contained boundless power. Every single cell in his body was filled with the power of lightning, and his lightning emperor body had reached a higher level. It was as if he could form a bolt of lightning that could control billions and billions of volts of lightning. Dong. He flipped his hand over, and a bolt of lightning appeared in his palm. It was like a lightning god throwing a spear, and in the blink of an eye, it pierced through dozens of mountains. In fact, a fissure hundreds of kilometers long appeared in the ground, and the surrounding soil was scorched by the lightning. Plumes of black smoke rose up, and even the rocks were melted into lava. It could be said that this attack was twice as powerful as his previous attack, and its penetrative power was terrifying to an astonishing degree. Even a golden core spiritual master would not be able to withstand an attack like this. His body would be pierced through and his soul would be destroyed. Not even the self-detonation of his golden core could do anything about it. What powerful lightning power! Xiaoping stood up and his body flickered. Suddenly, the lightning power in his body surged out as if turning his body into lightning. In an instant, his body turned into a bolt of lightning, and he moved dozens of kilometers in an instant. In mid-air, there was only a trace of lightning left, and the air smelled of burning. Boom. Xiaoping's fingers drew gently, and a lightning long sword appeared, splitting the ground in an instant. It drew hundreds of kilometers of marks, and the mountains in the distance were cut in half. He felt that his every move was like a divine beast, like a Kuei ox that had mastered the true essence of lightning. Abundant spiritual power, peak mid-stage true fire realm. Thanks to the lightning essence, Xiaoping also filled his Zifu space with spiritual power. He was just one step away from advancing to the late-stage true fire realm and stepping into a new realm. In reality, if not for the fact that he had swallowed the soul-gathering fruit, which resulted in the expansion of his Zifu space and the need to devour more energy to form spiritual power, this bit of lightning essence would have been enough for him to advance to the late-stage true fire realm. But this was also a good thing. The stronger one's martial arts foundation was, the greater one's future achievements would be. Another day passed and Xiaoping stayed in a mountain on this primitive planet. He cultivated quietly, comprehending the insights he had gained from the thunder trial, and at the same time, the lightning power in his body that had skyrocketed. Originally, he wanted to continue cultivating. Suddenly, the system's voice sounded, "Host, please take note. A powerful enemy is approaching with murderous intent. Please be careful." Hearing this voice, Xiaoping opened his eyes and stopped cultivating. His pupils revealed a trace of frightening light. He immediately understood the system's warning that an enemy was approaching him. Is Qin Shi? That Wandu clan disciple. Xiaoping sensed the warning from the system. He immediately knew that the enemy this time was Qin Shi. The other party had tracked him from another planet, and with a spaceship he had actually tracked him down. Swoosh. At this moment, a spaceship immediately appeared above the planet's atmosphere. Then hundreds of Wandu clan disciples flew out from the spaceship. Among them there were more than 10 Golden Core Realm Masters, and dozens of true Fire Realm disciples. They stood in midair, scattered everywhere. Their divine senses scanned the surroundings, as though they were trying to sense the life aura of this planet. Chapter 1490. Yes, Senior Brother Lu Wen. Qin Shi lowered his head and said respectfully, "Before that kid left, I have already planted the aura of the poisonous gas worm in him. Even if we are separated by countless light years, there will still be traces of the aura. It will not dissipate for several months. According to the tracking of the aura, the kid must have stayed on this planet. He definitely can't escape." He was very respectful to the young man in front of him, not only because he was strong and had reached the peak of the Gold Core realm, but more importantly, Lu Wen's father was an elder of the Wandu clan. He could not afford to offend such a person. Originally, Qin Shi wanted to hunt Xia Ping alone and take the soul-gathering fruit for himself. However, he thought that the kid had extraordinary means. If it was just him, he was afraid that he would not be able to capture the kid. Therefore he gathered many of his fellow brothers and sisters. Even eldest Senior Brother Lu Wen came personally. After all, the soul-cleansing grass and the soul-gathering fruit were precious treasures for Lu Wen. Once he obtained them, he would become rich and could exchange them for countless cultivation resources. Really? In that case, why can't we find the kid's specific location? Lu Wen narrowed his eyes and stared at Qin Shi. Well, the aura of the poisonous bugs on the kid suddenly disappeared yesterday. Maybe the kid found something. However, I'm sure that he must still be on this planet. Qin Shi was very depressed. He thought that his means were secretive and the kid could not find him. He did not expect the aura of the poisonous bugs to be removed by the kid. It was really incredible. However, he probably did not expect that Xia Ping had experienced the Thunder Tribulation. Under the 45th Thunder Tribulation, all foreign objects would be destroyed. The aura of the poisonous bugs would naturally turn into ashes under the Thunder Tribulation. Therefore, it was impossible for him to use the poisonous bugs to find the whereabouts of Xia Ping. "Senior brother, you must find that bitch Wu Wudi. Our Wandu clan brothers have been harmed by him." "Isn't that right? That bitch dared to use a dirty trick and caused us to fight with the beast. We suffered heavy casualties and did not get any benefits. When did our Wandu clan suffer such a big loss?" "That's right. We must catch Wu Wudi and tear him into pieces. Otherwise, I won't be able to vent my anger. Moreover, that guy has an artifact on him that can conceal his aura and instantly destroy the spirit arrays we arranged. If we kill him, we'll be able to reap a great harvest, enough to make up for all our losses. We definitely can't let this guy escape. Even if he runs to the ends of the world, we must catch up to him. We won't rest until he dies. Once I catch him, I'll interrogate him about the whereabouts of his clan. I'll kill his entire family and rape his wife and children right in front of him." "That's right. How can they not pay the price for stealing from us?" A group of Wandu clan disciples gnashed their teeth in anger. They were extremely resentful. They were completely tricked by Xia Ping. In order to escape from the many savage beasts, they paid a great price. If they had obtained the soul-gathering fruit and soul-washing grass, such a price would not have been unacceptable. The problem was that they did not get any benefits and instead they worked hard for others. They could not accept such an outcome and they wanted to bite that bitch Wu Wudi to death. "Search. Spread out and search every corner of this planet. Find out where that kid is hiding." Lu Wen nodded and immediately gave the order. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The group of people spread out. The perfected golden cores used their divine senses to search. As the planet was not big, slightly smaller than Earth, they finished searching in almost an hour. However, with the mountain river pearl concealing Xia Ping's aura, it was as if he was in a different dimension. No matter how the group scanned with their divine senses, they could not find any clues. "Damn it. There's no other life on this planet except for some animals. We can't find any traces of Wu Wudi. There's no spaceship either. Has he already left this planet? Impossible. He just arrived on this planet a day ago. There's a thick aura of poisonous insects all around. Even if he left, he wouldn't be so fast. He must still be hiding here. We can't go on like this. We can't find him at all. He must have a secret treasure on him that can block our divine senses." The expressions of the Wandu clan disciples were very ugly. They were helpless. If divine senses were useless, Trying to find a person on a planet was no different from looking for a needle in a haystack. Since we can't find him, let's stop looking. At that moment, Lu Wen said, "Destroy this planet. Destroy it completely. All life on the planet will be wiped out." I don't believe that he can still hide. The moment he opened his mouth, he wanted to destroy the planet. He wanted to take drastic measures and was vicious. The Wandu clan disciples were also shocked by Lu Wen's viciousness. However, they thought about it and felt that it was indeed a good idea. If the planet was destroyed, that kid would have nowhere to run. Even if the other party could not think of anything, there was nothing they could do. This was a drastic measure. At that moment, a voice came from the void. As expected of a Wandu clan disciple. Your methods are cruel and inhumane. You even want to destroy a planet with life. It seems like you can't be left alive. People like you who have committed heinous crimes do not deserve to live in this world. All of you can go to hell. Who is it? Who's playing tricks? Come out immediately. The Wandu clan is doing business here. Whoever dares to be impudent will be executed. Hearing this voice, the Wandu clan disciples present all had goosebumps. There were so many golden cores gathered in this place, and there was actually someone approaching without a sound. How shocking was that? If the other party had ill intentions and sneaked an attack, a golden core would probably die in an instant. They immediately activated their defensive Dharma treasures and were vigilant of their surroundings, guarding against any sneak attacks. Swoosh! A figure appeared not far away from them. He stood in midair with his hands behind his back. He looked at this group of people indifferently. He had no intention of sneaking an attack and was open and aboveboard. Wu Wudi. When Qin Shi and the rest saw this figure appear, they immediately shouted. Their eyes were filled with hatred and anger. It seemed like they could not suppress the anger in their hearts. It was because of this guy that caused the Wandu clan disciples to suffer heavy losses. They did not get any treasures. Everyone, how have you been? Xia Ping stood with his hands behind his back and looked at the Wandu clan disciples. I spared your lives previously. I didn't expect you to not know how to be grateful and repent. You even brought so many people to find trouble with me. It seems like you don't want to die fast enough. A terrifying murderous aura emanated from his body, covering 100 miles. Chapter 1491. Insolent. A bastard dares to speak to us so loudly. What's our status and what's your status? A golden core shouted angrily, since you're willing to come out, it's easy. Go to hell and turn into dust. Go to hell and regret it. Why are you so stupid as to become enemies with the 10,000 poison sect? The moment he said that, he attacked immediately. In the blink of an eye, 1,000 hands appeared in midair. Each hand seemed to be condensed from venom and was black in color. They charged over and transformed into black spiders. Deep within the black spiders, there seemed to be poisonous runes that moved continuously as though they were alive. They vaguely formed a small array formation that contained the terrifying might of heaven and earth. When the spiders flew over, the surroundings were filled with poisonous gas. Any living being would be corroded by such a poisonous gas, as though their bodies were invaded by venom. They would probably be poisoned to death in a short period of time, and even golden cores would not be able to withstand it. This was a poison mystical ability of the 10,000 poison sect, 1,000 spider hands. If one wanted to cultivate this mystical ability successfully, they had to capture the yellow sac spider, wandering spider, six-eyed desert spider, funnel web spider, black widow spider, and hundreds of other venomous spiders and extract their venom. Then they would be supplemented with various precious herbs to cultivate the 10,000 poison sect's cultivation technique and fuse it into the depths of the cultivator's blood, refining the cultivator into a poison man. Only by devouring the venom of these spiders and allowing the body to produce antibodies that would not fear the spider venom would there be a chance to cultivate successfully. However, the process of cultivating this mystical ability was extremely painful as well. They would be corroded by the venom at all times, and it was excruciating. It was as though they were being sliced by thousands of knives and bitten by ants. It was a life worse than death. Furthermore, there were many people who died every year when cultivating this poison mystical ability, and those who succeeded could be counted on one's fingers. However, once it was cultivated successfully, its power would be boundless and it could be said to be invincible among those of the same realm. When using this mystical ability, poisonous gas would run rampant and the enemy would often be poisoned to death unknowingly. If the enemy's skin was cut even a little, the spider venom would invade and they would definitely die. The poison of hundreds of spider venom stacked together was rather terrifying, and even he might not be able to cure it. Without a doubt, this golden core was a genius of the 10,000 poison sect who cultivated the 1,000 spider hands. His mystical ability was earth-shattering as he attacked, wanting to poison Xiaoping to death instantly. Dark North Body Protection Technique. In an instant, Xiaoping ran the Dark North Body Protection Technique, and layers of protective shields appeared around his body, like crystals, and also like the lines of an ancient tortoise shell, densely packed. Dong. The 1,000 spider palms bombarded the energy barrier fiercely. Thousands of spiders bit and tore at the barrier. The venom seemed to invade the barrier, but it was like hitting a steel wall. No matter how hard the 1,000 spider hands tried, they were unable to break through this barrier. Even the poison couldn't corrode it and was forcibly blocked outside. How is this possible? My divine ability, 1,000 spider hands, could break through the ages and destroy an area. Even mica steel couldn't withstand my poison. It would be corroded in a few breaths. Moreover, this venom specialized in breaking through protective treasures and astral energy. It could destroy boundless variations in moves. Exactly what kind of divine ability was this? It can actually block my 1,000 spider hands? To resist the poisonous gas and venom in my body? The perfected master of the Golden Core realm jumped in fright and quickly retreated. He was like an assassin, retreating immediately when his attack failed. He felt an unknown danger in the dark. However, how could he know the power of the Dark North Body Protection Technique? It defended against everything and was impenetrable. It formed a spatial barrier that was enough to block and reflect all attacks. It was wishful thinking for a mere spider venom to corrode the defense of the Dark North Body Protection Technique. Perhaps there were venoms that could break the defense of the Dark North Body Protection Technique, but this spider venom was clearly not one of them. Whoosh! In that instant, Xiaoping attacked. His speed was several times faster than that of the perfected master of the Golden Core realm. Like lightning, like a meteor, he cut through the night sky and pierced the sky. Dong! He turned his palm into a blade, raised his hand, and slashed down horizontally. He ran the Chaos Thunder technique, and the infinite power of thunder in his body surged out, emitting the aura of destruction, judgment, domination, destruction, and so on. It was as if a thunder god had descended at this moment, tearing apart the chaos, annihilating the gods and demons and judging all injustice. Ah! That perfected master of the Golden Core realm still did not know what had happened. His body was still flying in midair, his eyes widened, and he let out a shrill scream that was worse than a pig being slaughtered. Immediately, a blood-colored mark appeared between his brows. His body was dumbfounded, and then his body was cut in half, falling from midair, dripping with blood. The unwillingness, fear, and soul aura on his body quickly disappeared from this world as his body was cut in half. The venom in his body also exploded. Whoosh! The blood turned into venom and fell from the sky like poisonous rain, covering the area within a radius of several miles. A large number of trees and weeds withered rapidly, and even the rocks were corroded completely, turning into powder. After a few breaths, the place where the perfected master of the Golden Core realm died turned into a poisonous swamp, with black bubbles everywhere. Ordinary people would feel dizzy when they smelled the poisonous gas. And his Golden Core naturally fell into the hands of Xiaoping. However, this was just the beginning. After killing this perfected master of the Golden Core realm, he moved again. His body was as fast as lightning, ghostly, and unstoppable. Martial arts supernatural power. Lightning fist. With a flash, Xiaoping's movement trajectory was like a winding lightning bolt. In an instant, he approached the nearest disciple of the Myriad Poison clan in the intermediate stage of the Golden Core realm, and punched out. This punch was extremely terrifying, as if it was a thunder retribution punch. The thunder talisman in his body surged with a huge amount of thunder energy, and the thunder talisman gathered in his fist and gathered together. Dong! That perfected master of the Golden Core realm did not know what had happened. His eyes were filled with fear and other emotions. His chest was immediately pierced by a bolt of lightning, and his heart exploded. Even the Golden Core realm in his body was blasted away from his body by this punch. At the same time, the terrifying thunder energy exploded in his body, blasting him into pieces and turning him into a pile of minced meat. Another perfected master of the Golden Core realm was beaten to death, pierced by a punch. Ah! Senior Brother Huang and Senior Brother Pan were killed by this murderer with a punch. How could this be? Is this still a true Fire Realm cultivator? How could he be more powerful than a perfected master of the Golden Core realm? This is not a human, it's a devil, a monster. He might be possessed by a demon. Hurry, hurry, hurry and retreat. Don't try to fight against this monster. When they saw 2 golden cores being killed in an instant without any resistance, the myriad Poison Clan disciples were horrified. Sensing the difference between them and Xia Ping, they retreated rapidly, wanting to maintain a distance from him. Chapter 1492. Seeing the death of 2 golden core masters, Lu Wen clearly could not suppress the anger in his heart and stared at Xia Ping. You actually dare to kill my Wandu clan's disciples? Do you know that every time a Wandu clan disciple dies, a spiritual imprint will be left on the enemy's body? The stronger the strength, the more terrifying the spiritual imprint left. If you kill enough Wandu clan disciples, you will be left with the eternal curse of Wandu clan. At that time, your soul will be like the sun in the universe, constantly emitting light. If any Wandu clan disciple meets you, they will know that you are our life and death enemy. They will not fear death to kill you and use all kinds of methods to find trouble with you like a mad dog. If the matter is serious, even a saint will choose to kill you. Even if you have the support of a saint, it is useless. Are you sure you want to be an enemy of my Wandu clan? What nonsense! At this time, we are all life and death enemies. Why are you still talking about being an enemy? If you have the guts, come and kill me. You don't have enough strength and you want to talk about rules with me? It is simply a fool's dream. Xia Ping's figure flickered and instantly appeared behind Lu Wen, punching out again. Heavenly Soul Devouring Fist. Lu Wen punched back, terrifying demonic chi surged out from his body. In the depths of the void, densely packed demonic characters appeared, condensing into demon skeletons, emitting a deep, terrifying, evil, all-devouring aura and so on. This was not the Wandu clan's divine ability, but a supreme demonic path divine ability he obtained from some ruins. It had the power to devour the heavens and the earth. With one punch, even the soul would be devoured, sinking into eternal oblivion. Dong. The 2 fists collided, producing a terrifying destructive power, like the ringing of a bell, producing circle after circle of condensed ripples, spreading out in all directions, shaking the surrounding mountains to crack and collapse. Xia Ping also took a step back, feeling his chi and blood roiling. Great, eldest senior brother, you finally beat this kid a step back. A group of Wandu clan disciples were extremely excited. Looks like eldest senior brother's divine ability, Heaven's Net Soul Devouring Fist, has already been trained to the pinnacle. It has the power to break the vacuum. Let's attack together and quickly kill this little bastard and eradicate future troubles. Green Ox and Corinne were speechless when they heard these words. A dignified golden core perfected master only took a step back from a cultivator in the middle stage of True Fire Realm. They were actually excited to this extent. It was too shameful. Was there any dignity as a golden core perfected master? But how could the 2 of them know the fear of this group of 1,000 Poison Clan disciples? Xia Ping's battle achievements previously were too shocking. He killed 2 golden core perfected ones with just a few punches and kicks. In their eyes, Xia Ping was not a true Fire Realm cultivator at all, but a peak Golden Elixir Realm cultivator. He was on the same level as them, or even the kind of peerless demon that was invincible among those of the same level. Clan disciples were a little despair, even Golden Dan Xia, Golden Core Perfected One. Golden Dan of Sect of Dao Core Cultivators, one was not even of Golden Master. But it was different now. Lu Wen had personally attacked and forced this kid to take a step back. He was completely capable of fighting and resisting. If the Wandu clan disciples joined forces, they would definitely be able to beat Wu Wudi to death. Humph. Lu Wen was also very proud. You have a good eye. This martial divine ability is the unique skill of the ancient demonic sect Tianluo sect. It has the power of ghosts and gods. No matter what defensive technique it is like tofu in front of this fist technique. It can be broken with one punch. And every time it kills an enemy, it will devour a part of the enemy's soul as nourishment, constantly strengthening the power of this fist technique. The more people it kills, the stronger it is, and the more terrifying the power of this fist technique. Wu Wudi, you should obediently become a sacrifice for my fist technique. How dare you provoke Wandu clan? You don't even know how to write the word death. You will regret it when you go to hell. His clothes fluttered without any wind, surging with a terrifying demonic aura. There seemed to be thousands of ghosts behind him, as if they were all enemies he had killed, letting out miserable cries. Die Wu Wudi. You dare to be like a mantis trying to stop a chariot in front of me. This will be the cause of your death today. Heaven's Net Soul Devouring Fist, sink, fall, die. Lu Wen attacked instantly. He threw out 3 punches in a row, completely displaying the supreme mystery of the heaven's net soul-devouring fist: sink, fall, die. After the 3 punches, it was as if there was an Azura from hell, pulling the enemy's soul into the depths of hell, constantly devouring it, unable to resist and completely sinking. The surrounding Wandu clan disciples were also shocked. Although this martial divine ability was not targeted at them, the range of this fist technique was so large that it even created illusions. They also felt their souls being pulled by the emissary of hell, falling into endless illusions, completely sinking, falling, and unknowingly dying. Mantis trying to stop a chariot? What a frog at the bottom of a well. How dare a mere heaven's net soul-devouring fist flaunt in front of me? You have no idea what's good for you? Xia Ping snorted coldly and stretched out his claw. Hell's golden crow claw. The power of this claw was several times more terrifying than before. This was the power of the awakened 1 million golden crow of hell cells. Dense flame characters appeared on the giant claw, like ancient scriptures. It contained extreme flame energy, destructive energy, and seemed to be able to tear the void. Clang. In an instant, this claw tore the heaven's net soul-devouring fist apart. A hell Azura was blown up on the spot, torn apart, clawed to death, and its body was torn into pieces. The demonic aura that filled the void, under the burning of the golden crow of hell flames, quickly turned into ashes, sizzling. This claw could not even be blocked, directly hitting Lu Wen's body. Ah! Lu Wen let out a shrill scream, his entire body was blasted away, blood dripping from his chest. A terrifying power exploded in his body, shaking thousands of times, and his lungs were severely injured. But he was a cultivator at the peak of the Golden Core realm, after all. His divine ability was amazing, and he had a mid-grade spirit artifact defensive magic treasure on him, so he could barely withstand this attack and not die on the spot. But after this attack he also clearly knew that Wu Wudi was a monster and he was no match for Wu Wudi at all. His own strength could not shake this monster at all. Senior brother Lu. Qin Shi and the others were worried and panicked, afraid that Lu Wen would be crushed to death by Xia Ping's claw. Seeing that Lu Wen was still breathing, they were relieved. After all, Lu Wen was the son of a 1,000 Poison Clan elder. If they were in this place, they were afraid that they would also be in trouble, and the elder would vent his anger on them. This guy is a monster, a devil, not a human at all. Everyone attacked together, set up 1,000 poison jellyfish array, and completely poison him to death here. I want him to die without a whole corpse. Chapter 1493. Hearing this, Qin Shi and the rest's eyes lit up. This array was a famous array of the Wandu clan. Once it was successfully set up, it could immediately form 1,000 poison jellyfish. Under the poison of the 1,000 poison jellyfish, even a cultivator at the returning nature realm, who was stronger than the golden elixir realm, would not be able to escape death. Their bodies could not withstand the poison and they would collapse and die. However, the array disk of this array was extremely precious. Only the higher-ups could have it. They did not expect Lu Wen to have such a trump card. Wu Wudi was dead for sure. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. In an instant, without a word, they immediately stood at the nodes of the array and formed seals with both hands. They imbued all their spiritual power to activate the array and display its power. 1,000 poison jellyfish array, world poison domination. Lu Wen roared. His face was ferocious as he formed seals with both hands to activate the array. Immediately, countless poisons from the depths of the void were absorbed by the array. Even every drop of poison from the Wandu clan disciples gathered in the center of the array. Snake venom, scorpion venom, ant venom, spider venom, centipede venom, and other poisons gathered together. It was as if thousands of poisons had gathered together and were purified by the array. After a while, the black poisons became transparent. A huge jellyfish appeared in midair. It was the color of crystal and was extremely beautiful. Under the illumination of the sun, it emitted a myriad of colors. It was extremely beautiful. The tentacles of this jellyfish swayed gently and floated casually. It was like a god, a totem worthy of worship. Many Wandu clan disciples looked at the jellyfish with infatuation and excitement. They knew how terrifying this jellyfish was. It was known as the king of poisons. The more beautiful it was, the more poisonous it was. Even a golden elixir realm cultivator would be poisoned to death within a few breaths if they were lightly touched by its tentacles. If the jellyfish's poison entered the body, it would be like maggots in the bones. It would corrode one's spiritual power. Even if one used spiritual power to expel it, It would not stop until the poison consumed all of one's life force. Even the Wandu clan disciples kept a respectful distance from this jellyfish and did not dare to get too close. But if this jellyfish was facing an enemy, it would be its strongest attack. Dai Wu Wudi. Lu Wen revealed a sinister smile and activated the myriad poison jellyfish array. A huge myriad poison jellyfish rushed towards Xia Ping at lightning speed. He believed that Xia Ping was dead for sure. This was because the 1,000 poisons jellyfish was so terrifying that it was unimaginable to mortals. Even if the jellyfish was killed on the spot, it would still explode with venom that would spread for thousands of miles. In such an explosion, the poison would corrode Dharma treasures and dermic powers. It would instantly drown Wu Wudi, and he would probably be corroded into a pile of bones in a few breaths. Hellfire Crucible. A cold light flashed in Xia Ping's eyes as a massive furnace appeared in the air above his head. It instantly gave off a primal, ancient, devouring, refining, and other auras. Numerous hellish characters appeared on the surface of the furnace. There were characters of flame, characters of chaos, and characters of the infernal realm. It was as if an ancient scripture was being chanted, containing world-shaking power. Dong. The huge furnace produced a terrifying suction force that instantly swallowed the myriad poisons jellyfish. Majestic infernal golden crow flames began to burn, burning through everything. Incredible. Xia Ping's eyes glittered. Although the myriad poisons jellyfish was incredibly toxic, it also contained a vast amount of power. As soon as he assimilated it, he could feel the power coursing through him. He could sense his hellfire golden crow cells awakening. 10,000, 20,000, 50,000, 100,000. In the end, he had awakened a total of 500,000. One could only imagine how much power the myriad poisons jellyfish was providing him. Nice. Xia Ping burped. He felt his body brimming with strength as if he had eaten a complete tonic. Endless energy gushed out from the depths of his body, and his condition reached an unprecedented peak. Holy crap. This bastard is a monster. He actually ate a myriad poisons jellyfish. He's not human. This isn't a myriad poisons jellyfish, and it's not some delicacy. How could he just eat it? What divine ability is that? How could he refine the poison of a myriad poisons jellyfish? Isn't he afraid of being poisoned to death? The disciples of the 1,000 Poisons clan were scared half to death. They didn't even dare to touch the poison of the myriad poisons jellyfish. But now, someone was so reckless that he could refine the poison of the myriad poisons jellyfish. Even in the 1,000 Poisons clan, there were only a handful of people who could do such a thing, and they had to have a myriad poisons body. But such a person was the saint child of the 1,000 Poisons clan, second only to one and above all. Not good. Lu Wen shouted. All disciples of the 1,000 Poisons clan, listen up. This kid is a monster, a fiend, a hell Azura. He's not human. We can't fight him head-on. Retreat immediately and gather the elders of the 1,000 Poisons clan to kill this fiend. He's a great enemy of the 1,000 Poisons clan. Just as he shouted, Xia Ping made his move. You want to gather your allies? Do you think I'll give you that chance? As soon as he finished speaking, he appeared next to Lu Wen and punched the air. Dong. Lu Wen's protective Empyrean energy and magical treasures were instantly destroyed. Just like that, a fist pierced through his body. His eyes widened and his pupils revealed unwillingness, fear, regret, and many other emotions. But there was nothing he could do. He couldn't even make a sound as his body split into pieces instantly. Rumble, immediately, Lu Wen turned into a pile of flesh and blood. Among the minced flesh, only a golden elixir and his storage ring were left. It's over. Lu Wen is dead. Retreat. Retreat now. We're not his match at all. What kind of monster is this? He's just in the true fire realm and he killed a golden elixir realm cultivator like killing a dog? What kind of monster did we offend? Seeing Lu Wen killed with one punch, all the disciples of the 1,000 Poisons clan were scared out of their wits. Their faces were ashen and their legs were trembling. Some of them wanted to escape. But just as they took a step, a punch landed on their heads. Their heads were smashed into pieces like broken glass. Bang bang bang. The war drums roared and the spears and horses galloped. One by one, the disciples of the 1,000 Poisons clan screamed. When the last scream stopped, Qin Shi and the others were all killed by Xia Ping. There were also some disciples of the 1,000 Poisons clan who stayed on the flying ship. Seeing that the situation was not good, they wanted to drive the flying ship away. But Xia Ping took out the buried heaven bow, drew the bow and shot an arrow. In an instant the flying ship exploded. And the disciples of the Thousand Poisons clan in the flying ship were also killed by the explosion. Not even their bones were left. Chapter 1494. Xia Ping carefully counted his harvest this time. He had killed 20 perfected golden cores. None of them had self-destructed and he had obtained 20 golden cores. There were many benefits. In addition, he also looked at the space rings of the 10,000 Poison Clan disciples and found that they had obtained a large number of elixirs, spiritual herbs and magic treasures. However, the space rings of the 10,000 Poison Clan disciples were mostly filled with poisons. All kinds of poisons were basically fatal. If he took them out, it would be like Resident Evil. However, he had not looked at Lu Wen's space ring yet. He would look at it last. He was also looking forward to what treasures this senior brother of the 10,000 Poison Clan had. There's a restrictive formation. Xia Ping narrowed his eyes. He found that Lu Wen's space ring actually had a restrictive formation. Even if he was dead, it seemed that it would not be easy to break this restrictive formation. If he could not break it, he probably would not be able to get the treasures in the space ring. However, it was too easy for Xia Ping to break the restrictive formation. With a thought, he immediately activated the infernal golden crow flames in his body and seeped a wisp of flames into the space ring. Whoosh! Immediately, the restrictive formation of the space ring was destroyed. It was burned full of holes and completely collapsed. These restrictive formations could not withstand the destructive power of the infernal golden crow flames. Boom! At this moment, it seemed that the forceful destruction of the restrictive formation had caused unimaginable consequences. It triggered the defense mechanism of the space ring. A tyrannical shadow immediately appeared from the space ring. It was an old man in a gray robe. He had triangular eyes, a hooked nose and a ruthless expression. One look and one could tell that he was not someone to be trifled with. He emitted a vicious aura. As soon as he appeared, he immediately noticed Xia Ping. What's going on? Who are you? Why did you open the restrictive formation of this space ring? Where's my son Lu Wen? Xia Ping instantly knew that this was a backup plan left by Lu Wen. This old man must be Lu Wen's father. He was at least a Transcendence Realm expert. He had left his primordial spirit imprint in the space ring in case of any accidents. Swoosh! Without saying a word, he immediately used the infernal golden crow flames. He did not waste any time talking to the gray-robed old man. The terrifying flames instantly covered the primordial spirit imprint. Damn it, little bastard, how dare you! The gray-robed elder was both shocked and furious. He never thought that the brat in front of him would be so ruthless. Without saying anything, he immediately attacked his primordial spirit imprint. He quickly noticed the aura on Xia Ping's body. Damn it, why do you have so many spiritual imprints of my Wandu clan's disciples on your body? How many of my Wandu clan's disciples have you killed? Bastard, my son Lu Wen's spiritual imprint is also on you and you actually killed him? You're courting death. I won't let you off. The gray-robed elder let out an angry roar. He was like an enraged lion that wanted nothing more than to tear Xia Ping apart. Spiritual imprint. Xia Ping narrowed his eyes. Previously, these Wandu clan disciples had also said that if anyone killed them, they would leave behind a Wandu clan disciple's spiritual imprint. Indeed, every time he killed a person, a gray aura seemed to surge out from the bodies of these Wandu clan's disciples. He couldn't avoid it in time, and it entered his soul and entangled with it. Although this was not harmful to the soul, the problem was that it would form a mark, allowing the Wandu clan disciples to immediately find out that he was the enemy who killed the Wandu clan disciples. However, now was not the time to care about this. It was better to kill this elder as soon as possible. Swoosh! A dark golden crow's flame shot out and instantly hit the gray-robed elder. It's useless. A true fire realm ant thinks that you can do anything to my primordial spirit imprint. Everything you do is useless. Wait, damn it, bastard, what kind of flame is this? Why can it hurt my primordial spirit? The gray-robed elder was originally full of confidence, thinking that his primordial spirit imprint was superior to everything. Ordinary methods could not harm it and it was completely immune. Who would have thought that when the flame hit the primordial spirit imprint, it would instantly burn? This seemed to be an extraordinary flame that targeted the soul, and it could burn anything. Immediately he let out a roar. He was extremely angry, but it was too late. When the hell golden crow's flame completely burned, there was no one who could extinguish it. Little bastard, I will remember you. You will be the enemy of my Wandu clan for all eternity. Any disciple of the Wandu clan who sees you will hunt you down and kill you. Just you wait. Not only you, even your friends and family will die because of you. I will destroy your family and break up your wife and children." The gray-robed elder cursed fiercely. His eyes were filled with hatred. However, no matter how angry he was, he could not avoid the fate of disappearing. After a few breaths, following the gray-robed elder's curse, the primordial spirit imprint also quickly turned into ashes. And this space ring was also completely opened and could be viewed at any time. This is a little troublesome. Xiaoping touched his chin. Hearing the gray-robed elder's roar, he did not doubt the elder's anger at all. Moreover, this was the Wandu clan's territory. If the elder was angered, he could instantly seal the star area and there would be nowhere to escape. Even if he wanted to jump through space, if there were any spatial fluctuations, he would probably be discovered by the Wandu clan. If he was disturbed during the process of jumping through space, he would most likely fall into a different dimension and never be able to return. He might even be torn to pieces by the space storm. I don't know if this thing can be burned? Xiaoping moved his thoughts and operated the Hell Golden Crow's flame to burn the gray aura entangled in his soul. However, this substance was too special. There was not much movement even after burning it for a long time. No, it's still useful. This gray aura has already decreased a little. Xiaoping's eyes revealed a glimmer of light. The power of the Hell Golden Crow's flame on his body was still too weak. If it was a little stronger, perhaps it could burn this special spiritual imprint completely in an instant. However, even if it was a little weaker, it didn't matter. As long as he spent 7 or 8 days, he would be able to completely remove this gray aura. At that time, he would not have to fear that the group of Wandu clan disciples would find him. Let's go, let's leave this place first and find a safe place to hide. Xiaoping decided to temporarily leave this planet and go to another planet to hide. He would refine the Wandu clan's spiritual imprint in peace before secretly leaving the southern universe. At this time, at the headquarters of the Wandu clan, countless elders were gathered. The death of a dozen or 20 Taoist masters of Jindan stage was too bad. Even for a saint-level sect, this was an unbearable loss. It was unknown how many years it had been, but the Wandu clan had not lost so many elite disciples for a long time. Chapter 1495. At this moment, Chou Henshin, the 10,000 Poison Clan's clan master, several grand elders, and many elders were gathered in the conference room. Of course, the sage would not attend such a thing unless it was a matter of life and death for the 10,000 Poison Clan. If they were to trouble the sage for such a small matter, the 10,000 Poison Clan would not be able to survive. What does everyone think of today's incident? Chou Henshin looked at the many elders. Clan master, what are you looking at? Immediately lead the army and kill that little bastard. I want to tear him into pieces and kill his entire family. The one who spoke was Lu Wen's father, Lu Tao. He was a Dharma plane expert. At this moment, his anger exploded. His eyes were red like a bull. No one could imagine his anger at this moment. He even wanted to slaughter an entire planet. That's right, Clan Master. This is too evil. More than 20 golden cores died. This is a vicious crime that has never happened before in the 10,000 Poison Clan. We must kill that murderer Wu Wudi. Otherwise, everyone will kill our 10,000 Poison Clan disciples without being punished. That will be terrible. We must let those who dare to offend our 10,000 Poison Clan feel the true terror of the 10,000 Poison Clan. But that Wu Wudi seems to be a true Fire Realm cultivator. How could he kill so many golden cores? Is there even a need to ask? He must have been pretending to be a pig to eat a tiger. Coupled with the existence of a powerful Dharma treasure on him, he schemed against us. In the end, more than 20 golden cores and hundreds of elite disciples of our 10,000 Poison sect were slaughtered by him. In that case, he might have a background. Background is nothing. No matter how big his background is, it can't be bigger than our 10,000 Poison Clan. No matter where he comes from, he must die. Many 10,000 Poison Clan elders were filled with murderous intent as they gritted their teeth. Although the dead were not their relatives, they were elite disciples of the 10,000 Poison Clan. This was a slap to the 10,000 Poison Clan's face. They could not accept it. All of them suggested sending troops to capture the murderer, Wu Wudi. Clan Master, I suggest that we immediately activate the array and seal the void of the surrounding 3 major galaxies so that he can't space jump. Lu Tao gritted his teeth. Otherwise, if he escapes in the spacecraft, How will our 10,000 poison clan be able to face him? That's right. That Wu Wuti is vicious and cunning. We have to use a complete strategy. Immediately let the disciples of the Wandu clan on every planet monitor him at all times. If there are any clues, immediately report to me. Let's gang up and kill him. Don't give him a chance to fight alone. Search the area. Make sure he has nowhere to run. Don't worry, he has the spiritual imprint of our 10,000 poison clan on him. He is like a firefly in the darkness, he can't escape at all. We can see it clearly. One by one the elders laughed coldly. In order to deal with this murderer, Wu Wuti, the 10,000 poison clan came out in full force. They used the forces of the 3 great starfields they ruled to seal the void, wanting to catch a turtle in a jar. Even though the 3 starfields were vast and boundless, with such a thorough search, it wouldn't take long for this brat to be caught and beaten to a pulp. Alright, let's move out immediately and capture the murderer, Wu Wuti. We'll kill the chicken to scare the monkey. The sect leader of the Wandu clan, Hen Qian, gave the order. Yes, sovereign. Lu Tao and the others immediately received the order and quickly went to convey the order to mobilize the forces of the Wandu clan. A few days later, in one of the 3 great starfields ruled by the 10,000 poison clan, on an inconspicuous planet, Xia Ping hid in a primitive mountain range on this planet. He was surrounded by restrictive arrays that concealed his aura. No one would be able to discover his whereabouts. It was extremely safe. Phew. Xia Ping sat cross-legged on the ground, inhaling and exhaling the surrounding heaven and earth yuan qi. The spirit veins within a radius of 1,000 miles were all absorbed into his body. Fortunately, he had set up restrictive arrays that could isolate the outside world. Otherwise, such spiritual energy fluctuations would definitely attract the attention of others. By then, the people of the 10,000 poison clan might even come to kill him. Whoosh, in the depths of his purple mansion, his dermic power increased bit by bit. Soon it reached the limit. Suddenly Xia Ping was enlightened. Dong. The barrier of the purple mansion broke and he immediately broke through to a higher realm. It was like water flowing when the conditions were right. Xia Ping finally advanced to the late stage of the true fire realm. In fact, he should have advanced to the late stage of the true fire realm long ago. However, because he had consumed the soul-gathering fruit previously, it caused the purple mansion space to expand. Hence, it took longer to condense the dermic power. However, after the great battle and the absorption of the thunder punishment energy, he finally broke through to the late stage of the true fire realm after spending a few days to consolidate his cultivation. As soon as he stepped into this realm, Xia Ping immediately felt that his purple mansion space was expanding continuously. His dermic power was also increasing at a speed visible to the naked eye, turning into a sea. Especially the fire of soul on his body. It was like a sea of fire that was burning fiercely. It exceeded 300,000 kilometers. This was an extremely shocking fire of soul. It was as though a trace of it was enough to ignite the souls of countless ordinary people and completely burn them. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. At this moment, in the depths of his purple mansion space, magic talismans appeared. They shone brightly like the stars in the sky. They emitted an unusual and mysterious energy that communicated with the power of heaven and earth. When the fire of soul burned, the magic talismans actually showed signs of melting. The sea of fire was like a solar furnace, refining all the magic talismans and merging them into one. Am I going to condense the golden elixir? Xia Ping's eyes lit up. He knew that in order to step into the golden elixir realm, he had to use the fire of soul to burn and melt the magic talismans in his body. When all the magic talismans were melted and merged into one, they would be refined and purified until a golden elixir was formed. Only when one reached the golden elixir realm would one understand the true meaning of cultivation and have some status in the universe. With such strength, one could become the ruler of a planet. Therefore, there was a saying that once a golden elixir was swallowed, one's life would be in their own hands. This represented the strength of the golden elixir realm. In fact, when one stepped into the golden elixir realm, their lifespan would be more than double that of the true fire realm. No, the fire of soul is still not strong enough. I need to reach my peak. Xia Ping squinted his eyes and realized that he had too many martial arts magic talismans, and they were all very strong. To refine all these magic talismans, he was temporarily unable to do so. However, he did not care about this. After all, he had just stepped into the advanced stage of the true fire realm and was still a distance away from the perfected true fire realm. He was in no hurry. Suddenly, when Xiaoping was carefully feeling the surge of his divine consciousness after advancing to the advanced stage of the true fire realm, he felt an object in the space of the Pearl of Mountain River vibrating gently, as though it was resonating. Isn't this the devouring elephant totem? Xiaoping stretched out his hand and took out the devouring elephant totem. He had obtained it from the barbarian leader. Previously, because he wanted to snatch the soul-cleansing grass, he did not have the time to investigate the secret of this totem. Chapter 1496. Xiaoping placed the heaven-devouring elephant totem on the ground and observed it carefully. At this moment, his divine sense had greatly increased, more than twice as strong as before. He immediately discovered that this totem was extraordinary. Vaguely, he sensed that this totem was filled with a faintly discernible aura. It seemed to be able to affect heaven and earth, distort the air and produce strange illusions. It was mysterious and unfathomable. Boom, after an unknown amount of time, Xiaoping's divine sense explored every corner of this totem, comprehending every line on it. It seemed that this method had completed some kind of turning point, triggering the totem's chi activity. Immediately, the whole world seemed to have undergone earth-shaking changes. It was as if he had fallen into a certain realistic environment at this moment. At this moment, he felt that he had suddenly appeared in the starry sky. He stood in the vacuum, surrounded by a dense cluster of stars that shone brightly. A giant elephant appeared in front of him. No one could imagine how huge this giant elephant was. Even a star was just like a glass bead in front of it. Its four hooves also stood in the void, raising its long trunk. A majestic and grand energy was produced around its body, as if forming a black hole. What's going on? It's cultivating and breathing? Xiaoping stared at this unimaginable giant elephant. Its aura was like that of a god or demon. Just by standing in the same place, he felt as if time had stopped. That majestic phantom of a god or demon made people unable to resist it. His divine sense penetrated it and sensed that this giant elephant was actually breathing. 3 long breaths and 2 short breaths, producing an incredible rhythm. It seemed to have resonated with the fluctuations of heaven and earth. As the elephant breathed, with its body as the center, the primal chaos energy within a radius of countless light years surged in, all of it surging into its body. The aura on its body seemed to be growing stronger bit by bit at a speed visible to the naked eye. The vital energy and blood energy on its body was extremely terrifying, exuberant like a scorching sun. A single drop of its blood was enough to destroy the vitality of a planet. Subconsciously, Xiaoping also imitated this giant elephant's breathing. Immediately, he seemed to have fallen into some kind of mysterious rhythm of heaven and earth, seeming to have resonated with the power of heaven and earth. Indistinctly, the surrounding chi of the world gathered together, forming a giant elephant behind him that seemed to be able to support the heavens and the earth. It contained boundless power. Following that, he felt his blood boiling like lava. Countless mysterious giant elephant runes appeared in the depths of the void, one after another like the stars in the sky, fusing into his body. Suddenly, Xiaoping felt as if his body had been possessed by a giant elephant. It was as if his body was filled with explosive power, as if every cell contained the power of a giant elephant. After an unknown amount of time, he finally woke up and broke away from the illusion. The heaven-devouring mammoth totem seemed to shatter and turn into dust. It seemed to be a one-time use item that would be completely useless after it was used up. This was a divine elephant legacy. No way, this is the divine elephant breathing technique. Xiaoping's eyes widened in disbelief. This was a supreme secret technique that had definitely reached the saint level. If this breathing technique was cultivated to the highest level, one could even condense the power of a divine elephant. One had to know that in terms of power, even the golden raven of hell could not compare to a real divine elephant. After all, the talent of a divine elephant was its unparalleled, pure power. The divine elephant was a totem of extreme power, and no one could rival it. Xiaoping used the divine elephant breathing technique. He felt that this breathing technique seemed to have mobilized the chi in his body, activating all of his potential. His blood flowed like a giant dragon, tempering his body. Vaguely, a divine elephant totem appeared on his back. It was clearly visible, and every pattern on the totem was like a pattern of the Tao, mysterious and unfathomable. As he breathed deeply, he seemed to have turned into a divine elephant, burning his blood. His body and strength were all strengthening at a speed that could be seen with the naked eye. One had to know that he had already condensed the Golden Raven of Hell, Thunder Emperor body, Green Emperor body, Star body, and other physiques, which made his body like a monster. But after cultivating this breathing technique, his physique, his strength, and the strength of his body had actually increased to another level, which was simply too shocking. This cultivation session lasted for a day and a night. Boom. Xia Ping opened his eyes, which shone with a bright light. He suddenly stood up from the ground, causing heaven and earth to shake. It was as if a divine elephant was turning over. The 1,000-meter-tall mountain he was on was immediately shaken into pieces by the force of the explosion. Even the area within a 1,000-mile radius was roaring, and shocking cracks appeared on the ground like a dense spider web. My strength is a bit too strong. Xia Ping was also shocked by his sudden increase in strength. Just now, it was purely a force that leaked out of his body, and it had shaken the mountain to pieces. Even if he did not use his dermic powers and only used his strength, pure strength, he would be able to kill a golden core perfected being with one punch. He did not need any Dharma treasures or weapons at all. His body right now was an extremely powerful Dharma treasure. Hungry, so hungry. All of a sudden, Xia Ping felt extremely hungry, as if his blood qi was depleted. He did not know how many days he had been starving, and if this were to continue, he would starve to death. He knew that cultivating the divine elephant breathing technique did not come without a price. He had to burn his blood qi potential and temper his body. However, if he could not make up for the depleted blood qi, it would damage his martial arts foundation and he would no longer be able to improve. This was an extremely demonic breathing technique. It was extremely powerful, but the side effects were great as well. Green Ox, prepare pills and food for me immediately. Xia Ping instructed the Green Ox immediately. Yes, master. I've refined quite a number of pills previously and I can provide them to master. The Green Ox could tell that Xia Ping's blood qi was severely depleted and replied immediately. Right, those barbaric dragon rabbits have grown quite a bit recently as well. Their numbers have reached 12 billion. We can harvest them now and refine them instantly to create dragon blood pills. The Green Ox continued. 12 billion. Xia Ping was shocked as well. It had only been a year, but there were already so many barbaric dragon rabbits. The growth rate of these barbaric dragon rabbits was indeed shocking. As long as they were given enough space and food, they could reproduce endlessly. But thankfully, the existence of these barbaric dragon rabbits could provide him with enough food. Chapter 1497. Dragon Blood Pill? There's such a thing? Xia Ping's eyes lit up. Sure enough, capturing these barbaric dragon rabbits to breed in the mountain and river pearl was the right decision. Although each barbaric dragon rabbit only had one strand of dragon blood, if there were 1,000,000 of them, that would be 1,000,000 strands of dragon blood. 100 million barbaric dragon rabbits would be 100 million strands of dragon blood. This was a rather shocking number. It could be said that if there were enough barbaric dragon rabbits, it would be very easy to directly condense them into a river of dragon blood. Of course, the greatest significance for Xia Ping was to continuously obtain dragon blood. This was equivalent to raising a few true dragons here and letting them bleed at any time. In the future, he wouldn't have to worry about running out of dragon blood. Very well, immediately refine 1,000 dragon blood pills. I want to eat them. Xia Ping said to the Green Ox. That's easy. The Green Ox expressed that this was child's play. It was a deity in the mountain and river pearl, and it could instantly refine hundreds of millions of barbaric dragon rabbits and condense them into dragon blood pills. It was too familiar with this kind of thing. Moreover, it usually refined a lot, so it had a few hundred dragon blood pills in stock. Oh, master, other than the barbaric dragon rabbits, the crystal rice has also matured quite a bit. After my careful cultivation and increasing the number of seeds, the planting area has reached 3 million square kilometers. This time we have harvested 1 billion tons of crystal rice. And with the expansion of the planting area, we will be able to harvest even more crystal rice. The Green Ox revealed the results of the past few days. The crystal rice had been successfully cultivated. 1 billion tons of crystal rice? Xia Ping was very excited. He knew how valuable the crystal fragrant rice was. Back then, when the Red Scarf Bandits obtained the crystal fragrant rice in 9 Heaven Living Soil, they spent a lot of effort but were unable to produce that much every year. After all, in order to let crystal rice survive, one had to pay attention to the quality of the soil, temperature, sunlight, moisture, pests, and so on. If they were not careful and encountered pests, a year's worth of crystal rice would be gone. However, this was only a small matter for the Green Ox and the mountain and river pearl. It had grown even more precious spirit herbs. Compared to the red scarf bandits, the green ox was a true great druid, nature's favorite. Quick, cook a ton of crystal rice immediately. Xia Ping felt extremely hungry and he could eat as much as he wanted. A ton? When Green Ox and Corinne heard this, the corners of their mouths twitched. Ordinary people would be full after eating 1 or 2 crystal fragrant rice, but now Xia Ping actually wants to eat a ton. Isn't he afraid of bursting to death? However, they had indeed sensed that Xia Ping's body was severely drained of vital energy and blood, which was unusual. Now was not the time to ask for the reason, so they immediately got to work. One went to refine the dragon blood pill, while the other went to boil the crystal fragrant rice. At this moment they didn't seem to be artifact spirits but 5-star chefs. They were so busy that they were dizzy and disoriented. Half a day later, the dragon blood pill, crystal fragrant rice cooked with rice, and the pills obtained from all kinds of people were all placed on the table of the Pearl of Mountains and Rivers. As expected of the dragon blood pill, the taste is indeed not bad. Xia Ping tossed these dragon blood pills into his mouth like jelly beans. With a smacking sound, he crushed dozens of dragon blood pills and swallowed them. After that, he could feel these dragon blood pills being instantly refined by the sun furnace, transforming into majestic energy as well as pure dragon blood. This energy also surged into his limbs and bones, replenishing the deficiency of his blood and qi. This also caused the hunger in his body to lessen a little. Yes, it was just a little. He wasn't satisfied at all. Slurp slurp, Xia Ping held a rice spoon in his hand and continuously scooped up the rice cooked with the crystal fragrant rice, devouring it like a whale. In a few breaths, he had finished the amount of rice that was equivalent to a rice cooker. This was simply like a tornado sweeping away the clouds. A large amount of rice entered his stomach. At this moment, his stomach was like a black hole. No matter how much he ate, it would be rapidly digested and converted into energy that surged into every cell in his body. These dragon blood pills, crystal fragrant rice, and various other pills were all refined by him into powerful energy that surged into the depths of his body. Xia Ping's body was glowing, and the more he ate, the more brilliant the glow on his body became. At the final moment, it was as if he had transformed into the sun. The surrounding area of several kilometers was illuminated by the sunlight, and even his eyes couldn't open. In fact, there was even a scorching aura, and even the ground was charred. My God, how can he eat so much? Is he still human? He's simply a gluttonous beast. No, even a gluttonous beast can't eat as much as him. The green ox was dumbfounded. It could be considered as having seen countless creatures and had a lot of knowledge, but it had never seen a creature that could eat so much. It must be known that these foods were not ordinary foods. Dragon blood pills, crystal fragrant rice, and various types of cultivation pills such as 5 elements pills, universe pills, yin and yang pills, and so on were all high-energy foods. An ordinary person would be stuffed to death after eating a bowl of crystal fragrant rice, but this guy was different. He could eat a ton. Just now, Xia Ping obtained the inheritance of a mysterious totem. It seems to be called something like divine elephant breathing technique. What kind of secret technique is this? How can it be so frightening? It's simply unheard of. Corinne had always been by Xia Ping's side, so he naturally knew the reason for Xia Ping's mutation. He admitted that this breathing technique was frightening. Originally, Xia Ping's physique had already reached the peak of his current realm, but after practicing this breathing technique, it could still be improved. This was too frightening. Corinne didn't know what level of technique it was. Could it be that it had surpassed the sage level? He sighed with emotion. This guy Xia Ping's luck was really too astonishing. He had casually killed some barbarians, and he had obtained this mysterious totem. He had obtained this world-shaking fortuitous encounter. Of course, if he didn't have the strength, he wouldn't have obtained anything from this fortuitous encounter. That barbarian leader had also obtained it before, but he hadn't obtained anything. It could only be said that he didn't have enough strength and talent, so he couldn't obtain the recognition of this mysterious object. Master is really a person with great luck. He can even obtain this kind of secret cultivation technique. I'm afraid that it won't be a big problem for him to surpass the old master in the future. The green ox also sighed with emotion. The more he stayed together with Xia Ping, the more he could feel how frightening Xia Ping's aptitude was. The speed of his progress was simply unimaginable. A day passed in the blink of an eye. The food on the table had been eaten cleanly, and not a single drop was left. Xia Ping had finally eaten his fill, and the feeling of hunger in his body had completely disappeared. At this moment, the 108,000 pores on his body were gushing out rich essence energy. It seemed as if every essence energy was like a sharp sword energy blade that could easily tear the earth apart. Every blood vessel in his body seemed to have a giant dragon swimming in it. It was filled with terrifying power, surging and surging. Every cell in his body was alive, and his skin was revealing a sparkling and translucent luster, just like a crystal. All the impurities and dirt had been thoroughly refined and expelled. Xia Ping felt that his condition was unprecedentedly good, and had almost reached the peak. After eating and drinking my fill, it's time to stir up some trouble. I wonder how is the current situation of the Wandu clan? Chapter 1498. Another day had passed. Xia Ping used the infinite puppets to control his doppelgangers and went to various parts of the planet to gather information. He finally understood the current situation of himself and the 10,000 Poison clan. As he expected, the death of Lu Wen and the others had enraged the 10,000 Poison clan. They had already issued a kill order to Wu Wudi, so that every disciple of the 10,000 Poison clan was dispatched to kill Wu Wudi. The 10,000 Poison clan had even activated a large array to seal the void in the nearby 3-star fields. Any spaceship that wanted to leave this star field through a space jump had to be carefully inspected by the 10,000 Poison clan before they could leave. For a time, the 3-star fields ruled by the 10,000 Poison clan were already in a state of panic. If he dared to go out to any planet, he would immediately be attacked by the disciples of the 10,000 Poison clan. Even many elders would cross the void and directly capture him. It could be said that such a move was simply unprecedented. It shocked the major saint-level sects of the southern universe. Many sects wanted to know what had happened to make the 10,000 Poison clan so angry that they mobilized so many people. You want to surround me? It's not that simple. Xia Ping was very calm. He was not worried about the pursuit of the 10,000 Poison clan. In one day, the spiritual imprint left by the disciples of the 10,000 Poison clan on his soul would be completely refined by him. The reason why the 10,000 Poison clan put on such a show was that they thought that Xia Ping had been hit by the spiritual imprint of the 10,000 Poison clan and had nowhere to hide. As long as they got close, they would be able to find Xia Ping's specific location. In fact, such a spiritual imprint was extremely terrifying. It was like maggots attached to the bone. Only a saint could remove it. This was also the trump card of the 10,000 Poison clan. Because of this, most enemies dared not make an enemy of the 10,000 Poison clan. But even if they were beaten to death, they would not know that there was a heavenly flame like the infernal golden crow flame in the world that could burn this spiritual imprint completely. As long as there was no spiritual imprint left by the 10,000 Poison clan, it would be like looking for a needle in a haystack for these disciples of the 10,000 Poison clan to find him in the 3 major star fields. Of course, if Xia Ping wanted to leave now, it would naturally be a piece of cake. However, being scared away by the 10,000 Poison clan was not in his character. Looks like I have to think of a way to make them hate me. Xia Ping touched his chin and decided to play a big game with the 10,000 Poison clan. He wanted a lot of hatred. He had to think of a way to get it. Thinking of this, he decided to log into the virtual network and logged into the Southern Universe forum of the Southern Universe. And countless warriors would appear in this forum. This forum was also divided into many sections. Some were treasure hunting sections, some were martial arts sections, and some were second-hand trading sections. Of course, the most lively section was the gossip forum. There were many gossips circulating in this place. Countless martial artists would pay attention to the information sent out by this forum. And at this time there was a highlighted post on the gossip forum. It was posted by the people from the 10,000 Poison clan. Moreover, they even spent money to buy a highlighted post so that everyone could see it. 1010 of 9,000 Poison sect. On it was written, Bounty for the criminal Wu Wudi. This criminal is extremely vicious, lazy, and inhumane. He killed without batting an eyelid and is inhumane. He plotted against many kind golden core disciples of the 10,000 Poison clan and committed a heinous crime. The moment this reward was posted, it immediately caused an uproar among countless warriors on the forum. This was because such a reward was too shocking. No matter what kind of reward it would make people salivate. If they could get it, they would become rich overnight. Therefore, the number of replies exceeded tens of millions and the number of clicks exceeded tens of billions. Everyone was envious and jealous. They could not wait to immediately catch Wu Wudi and hand over his head in exchange for the 10,000 Poison clan's reward. This time, the 10,000 Poison clan not only used the power of their own sect, but also mobilized the people of the Southern Universe. Countless people became spies for the 10,000 Poison clan, so that Xiaoping had nowhere to escape. This time, the 10,000 Poison Clan not only used the power of their own sect, but also mobilized the people of the Southern Universe. Countless people became spies for the 10,000 Poison Clan, so that Xiaoping had nowhere to escape. Once he appeared on a planet with life, he would immediately be discovered by the 10,000 Poison Clan. Xiaoping looked at the post and found that many 10,000 Poison Clan disciples were replying to it. Their tone was extremely arrogant. Idiots, don't even think about this reward. It's purely a reward for our 10,000 Poison Clan disciples. A 10,000 Poison Clan disciple was clamoring. That's right. He's just a small True Fire Realm cultivator. We can crush him to death if we catch him. It's not your turn to make a move. If junior brother Lu Wen and the others hadn't been too careless and been ambushed by Wu Wudi, they wouldn't have died so miserably. Just you wait. In less than 3 days we'll catch Wu Wudi. At that time, the 10,000 Poison Clan will definitely make him wish he was dead. He'll taste the horror of death. Even his family will be destroyed because of him. Rivers of blood will flow. This reward is a warning. We'll kill the chicken to scare the monkey. We'll let you know the consequences of offending the 10,000 Poison Clan. I hope that everyone will take this as a warning. Don't be like that idiot Wu Wudi who dares to offend any power. I guess he's regretting it for the rest of his life. Why was he so stupid to dare to kill a 10,000 Poison Clan disciple? But it's useless. It's too late for regret. Only his death can wash away the shame of the 10,000 Poison Clan. Many 10,000 Poison Clan disciples were replying. They were extremely contemptuous of Xiaoping. They didn't see him as an opponent at all. It was just a game, an outdated game that would end soon. I think we shouldn't catch him so early. Let him live in the fear of death. Seeing this reward, his family, his friends, and even the shop assistants passing by are his enemies. He can be betrayed at any time and assassinated at any time. He doesn't dare to trust anyone. The whole world is his enemy. He can't sleep every night. He can only sleep on the streets. He doesn't dare to appear in the human world. He doesn't even dare to drink wine. He doesn't even dare to eat for too long. I feel a little sorry for Wu Wudi. I guess when he killed a 10,000 Poison Clan disciple, he didn't even know that there would be such consequences. Living is worse than death. Who asked him to do things without thinking and not consider the consequences? This is the consequence of being stupid. Many 10,000 Poison Clan disciples sneered. They directly admitted that this reward was purely to kill the chicken to scare the monkey. They took the opportunity to warn the other hostile forces of the 10,000 Poison Clan not to act rashly. Otherwise, what awaited them would be the revenge of the 10,000 Poison Clan like a mad dog. To be honest, when this reward was announced, many of the hostile forces of the 10,000 Poison Clan calmed down. They thought about whether it was necessary to go against the 10,000 Poison Clan. If they provoked the 10,000 Poison Clan to come out in full force for revenge, no one could bear it. Chapter 1499. How arrogant. Looking at this post and the contents of the replies, Xiaoping narrowed his eyes. He finally knew how domineering and arrogant the 10,000 Poison Clan was. They did not treat him as a threat at all. That was the truth. No matter how glorious Xiaoping's battle record was, he was just a junior in the True Fire Realm. Compared to a giant like a sacred level sect, he was just a small shrimp. However, even a small shrimp could bite off a few pieces of meat from this huge monster if it wanted to. Thinking of this, Xiaoping immediately made a post on the forum. In order to prevent this post from sinking into the sea, he also spent a sum of money to buy a highlighted post so that everyone could see it. There was not much content in the post. The first was a photo that Xiaoping had just taken of the golden cores of Lu Wen and the others. He immediately uploaded it and wrote some words. On a certain day, I hunted the perfected golden core of the 10,000 Poison Clan on a wild planet. I killed several elite disciples of the 10,000 Poison Clan and obtained a golden core by chance. I thank everyone from the 10,000 Poison Clan for the treasure. As soon as this post appeared, it was highlighted at the top and was immediately known by countless people. Oh my god, this is a Jindan left behind by a Jindan master. I've only heard of it before, but I've never seen it before. Someone saw the picture and immediately exclaimed. Of course not. Golden cores are so rare. Every golden core perfected being is extremely terrifying. Once their lives are threatened, they will immediately self-destruct. Who can obtain a golden core unless they can kill the golden core perfected being instantly and not allow them to self-destruct in time? What's going on with the Jindan in the picture? Was it rare for someone to kill so many golden cores in an instant? And which sect's golden core does this belong to? Idiot, didn't you see the words below the picture? Those were the golden cores of the Wandu clan's Jindan masters. For example, Lu Wen, Qin Shi, and the others. They were once famous Jindan masters of the Wandu clan. Now they are all dead and their golden cores have been taken away. Oh my god, it's signed by Wu Wudi. That fugitive has appeared and even made a provocative post. As soon as this post was posted, it immediately caused a huge uproar. It was like an earthquake. Countless people on the forum who had been paying attention to this matter quickly learned about it. They knew how hard it was to obtain a golden core. Every one of them was priceless. If they were sold, there would be countless people fighting for them. However, Wu Wudi was able to instantly kill a golden core. His strength was shocking. Just what sort of method did he use to kill a golden core so quickly that the latter could not even self-destruct his golden core in time? The group of people was bewildered and secretly guessed at Wu Wudi's true strength. Especially the disciples of the 10,000 Poison Clan, because this post was a provocation to the 10,000 Poison Clan. They immediately received the news. Oh my god, these are the golden elixirs of senior brother Lu Wen and senior brother Qin Shi. How did they fall into the hands of others? Wu Wudi, it's that wretch Wu Wudi. That wretch killed senior brother Lu Wen and the others, but she still won't let it go. She even made a post to show off and provoke us. She's provoking us. He actually dared to display the golden core of our 10,000 Poison Sect's perfected golden core. That's practically whipping a corpse in front of everyone. Wu Wudi, our 10,000 Poison Sect will fight you to the death. Many disciples of the 10,000 Poison Clan were so angry that their lungs were about to explode. He killed their disciples and even made a post to show off his golden core. Wasn't this a public slap to the face of the 10,000 Poison Clan? Elder Lu Tao also received the news and immediately went to the forum to take a look. When he saw his son Lu Wen's golden core, he was so angry that he vomited 3 liters of blood. His eyes were wide open. That's my son Lu Wen's golden core. Lu Tao's expression was ferocious as he immediately posted, "Little bastard, how dare you humiliate our 10,000 Poison Clan in public. Immediately take down this picture, or I'll make you regret it for the rest of your life." He was so angry that he wanted to kill Xia Ping immediately and dismember him. Regret it for the rest of my life? I'll wait for you to make me regret it for the rest of my life. Xia Ping immediately replied, "It's not that I'm looking down on your 10,000 Poison Clan, but that's all you're capable of. Other than sneak attacks and killing people with poison, what else do you have? In a head-on battle, I can kill a group of your 10,000 Poison Clan disciples by myself. I'll kill you until you cry for your parents. Poison is useless and your 10,000 Poison Clan disciples are all trash. You can't even withstand a single blow." He laughed at the 10,000 Poison Clan. "Wu Wudi, you're courting death. Despicable Wu Wudi, appear in front of us if you have the guts. Let's fight one-on-one. You still dare to boast shamelessly and say that our 10,000 Poison Clan disciples are useless. I can poison your entire family to death in an instant. Do you want to try? You dare to be a keyboard warrior online, but you don't dare to come out and fight one-on-one? Don't hide if you have the guts." A group of 10,000 Poison Clan disciples were furious. They immediately posted to scold Wu Wudi and wanted to fight Xia Ping one-on-one. Some people tried to goad Xia Ping into coming out and not hiding. So what if I'm hiding? Come and bite me if you have the guts. Xia Ping said calmly, "To be honest, I can come and go as I please in your 10,000 Poison Clan's territory. It's like my backyard, but in view of your attitude, I'll teach you a deep and unforgettable lesson. You can't afford to offend just anyone. Remember to keep a low profile in the future. Otherwise, you won't even know when your clan will be destroyed." As soon as he said that, countless people were in an uproar. This was the first time they had seen such an arrogant fugitive. Faced with the pursuit of the 10,000 Poison Clan, not only did he not run away, but he even dared to provoke them online. Was this guy not afraid of the 10,000 Poison Clan's anger and mobilizing all their forces to kill his entire family? At this time, many of the 10,000 Poison Clan's disciples and elders were infuriated by Xia Ping's words. Capture this arrogant criminal Wu Wudi immediately. Mobilize all our forces. I want to find traces of Wu Wudi within 3 days. As a fugitive, he still dares to post on the internet, provoke us and publicly whip a corpse. He insults the 10,000 Poison Clan's face. If we don't kill him, How will the 10,000 Poison Clan maintain its face? You're all good for nothings. It's been a few days but we still can't find any traces of that bitch. Immediately mobilize all our forces to find Wu Wudi. Everyone stop your tasks and conduct a carpet search. Once we find that guy we'll tear him to pieces. One by one the 10,000 Poison Clan's elders let out angry roars and issued orders, which were transmitted to the 3 major star fields and countless planets, causing countless people in the 10,000 Poison Clan to move. This kind of power was earth-shattering. On every life planet, in every street and alley, Xiaoping's arrest warrant appeared. However, they really did not know what Xiaoping looked like, so they could only use his name instead. Some people wanted to use network methods to track down the network address where Xiaoping had posted. Unfortunately, they were all intercepted by Corinne, and instead, they traced it to the 10,000 Poison Clan's own disciples. Chapter 1500. The 10,000 Poison Clan ruled a total of 3 major starfields, namely the Spider Starfield, the Red Snake Starfield, and the Black Scorpion Starfield. Each starfield was vast and boundless, with many prosperous life planets. At this moment, Xiaoping was in the Spider Starfield and had arrived at a relatively prosperous commercial planet, Bamboo Peach Planet. This planet was extremely prosperous in terms of commerce. It was twice the size of Yanhuang Planet and had a population of more than 100 billion. Countless practitioners would enter and exit this place to conduct transactions. Xiaoping's stars was currently hidden outside this planet, watching from afar. Corinne, can Dumbo really swallow this planet? Xiaoping looked at Corinne. Corinne said confidently, of course if Gaia wanted to become stronger quickly, it would need to swallow other planets to strengthen its body, in addition to a huge soul. In the beginning, Dumbo's size was only about the size of an asteroid, but after being nurtured by the old master, it has grown to the size of a star after tens of thousands of years. If not for the old master's accidental death, perhaps Dumbo's current size would be even bigger. It would be easy for it to be thousands of times bigger than it is now. Moreover, there are many benefits after swallowing this planet. Not only can it obtain the entire planet's materials, but it can also obtain the planet's population of hundreds of billions. It knew Gaia's information like the back of its hand, indicating that there was absolutely no problem in doing so. But it doesn't seem to be that simple to swallow this planet. What if an enemy comes out to obstruct it? Xiaoping narrowed his eyes, worried that Dumbo's swallowing of the planet might be obstructed. Don't worry, as long as the saints don't take action, no one can do anything to Dumbo. Even the Thunder Retribution Realm powerhouses can't do anything. They're just clay chickens and pottery dogs. Corinne was dismissive. Dumbo, do you want to eat that planet? Xiaoping looked at Dumbo, who was hugging his thigh and sleeping, and gently stroked her little head. Planet? Hearing Xiaoping's words, Dumbo rubbed her eyes and blinked. Looking outside, her eyes lit up and she was very excited. Brother, is that the food you gave to Dumbo? She was Gaia. She would have the desire to swallow any life planet and take it for herself. However, most of Gaia were otaku girls and otakus. They were natural losers. If there was no need, they would sleep on the spot and slowly evolve. They would not go out unless it was absolutely necessary. Food. The corner of Xiaoping's mouth twitched. Looking at Dumbo's excited look, he felt that he was worrying too much. Dumbo was a super creature in the universe, one of the strongest races. It couldn't be described with common sense. Yes, this is the food I have prepared for you. Eat as much as you want. Don't stand on ceremony. Xiaoping said carelessly and waved his hand. He was very generous and generous. Thank you, big brother. Dumbo was very excited. In a flash he left the stars. Xiaoping wanted to ask Dumbo if it planned to devour the planet. However, he did not expect Dumbo to create a black hole that was dozens of times bigger than the planet with a wave of its hand, producing a terrifying suction force. The living beings living on the Bamboo Peach Planet also experienced an unforgettable day. They lived like before, going to work, working and going to school. But all of a sudden, a gigantic black hole appeared, devouring the entire world. Even the spaceships flying around Bamboo Peach Planet were unable to escape from the devouring of the black hole. Even if someone wanted to urgently call for help under the black hole, even light could be distorted. No signal could be sent out. Boom. After a few breaths, the planet was completely devoured. Countless spaceships nearby also disappeared completely. All of them had entered Dumbo's stomach. So simple. Xiaoping blinked his eyes. This was a planet that was even bigger than Yanhuang Planet, Yet it was devoured by Dumbo in one bite. What a terrifying scene. If Yanhuang planet had encountered a creature like Dumbo back then, it would have perished instantly without any chance to resist. Swoosh. Dumbo's figure flashed and returned to the spaceship again. It came to Xiaoping's side and gave a burp. It seemed to have tasted good. Dumbo, what happened to that planet? Xiaoping was very curious because he didn't know what would happen to the planet that was devoured by Dumbo. It will become like this. Dumbo stretched out its finger and tapped Xiaoping's thigh lightly. Suddenly, a huge amount of information entered Xiaoping's mind. Countless information and images appeared in the depths of his mind. I see. Xiaoping suddenly understood. After this bamboo peach planet entered Dumbo's stomach. Other than life, all other substances on the planet instantly disintegrated, turning into basic substances and integrating into Dumbo's body. After these substances entered Gaia planet, they would turn into mountains, soil, rivers, volcanoes, deserts, and so on. They would constantly increase the planet's land area and ocean area. As for the hundreds of billions of humans on this planet, they were scattered in every corner of Gaia planet and started anew. As for the spaceships, weapons, spirit stones, and so on, they were all refined and transformed into Gaia planet's energy. It could be said that apart from being practitioners, they had nothing. They were completely primitive people and could only start anew in this place. Xiaoping was very regretful. He originally wanted to get a lot of training resources from this planet, but now it seemed impossible. Once it was devoured by Gaia, any non-living substances would instantly turn into basic substances and be completely transformed. But it didn't matter. Anyway, letting Gaia continue to grow stronger would also bring him endless benefits. Let's go and continue to the next one. Xiaoping immediately took action. This was just the beginning. He still had to devour more life planets. He believed that if these flourishing business planets were to disappear, it would be an unimaginable blow to Thousand Poison Clan and cause them to be filled with hatred. And not long after Xiaoping left, many commercial spaceships flew towards Bamboo Peach Planet. They were all here to do business or to travel. But when they arrived, they were all dumbfounded. Wait, where's Bamboo Peach Planet? Where did it go? You must be joking. Don't tell me it disappeared? Disappeared my ass. How could such a huge planet disappear? Don't tell me we went the wrong way and came to another star field? Impossible. According to the star map, this place is where Bamboo Peach Planet is located. But why did Bamboo Peach Planet disappear? Immediately contact our staff on Bamboo Peach Planet and ask them what exactly happened. No, we can't ask at all. We can't even get through to their phones. There's no one on the Universe Virtual Network. Damn it. Something big has happened. Something really big has happened. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.